Welcome back. You've found your way to Shadowstream again. Close the door behind you. This place is safer when the outside world can't hear what we talk about in here. Tonight's theme is spring break, but this isn't the version they sell on travel posters. Not palm trees, neon lights, and sunburnt laughter. No. Tonight, we step into the kind of spring break that parents fear and survivors refuse to speak about. These are true stories of trips that should have been fun, but turned into vanishings, trespassing into forbidden places, strangers who weren't strangers at all, and friends who walked into the night and never came back. No monsters. No Hollywood nonsense. Just real fear, the kind that starts quiet and ends in screaming, a warning before we begin. Once you hear these, you won't think of road trips or beach towns the same way again. You'll feel that familiar chill, the instinct that someone is watching, because after tonight you'll realize someone probably is. Most people watch these videos alone at night and forget to subscribe, but you're not like most people, are you? You're still here for a reason. Tell me, what time is it where you are right now? And where in the world are you watching from tonight? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious how far fear travels. Settle in. Turn the lights down, and don't wander too far from safety. Here are tonight's true spring break horror stories. The first time I saw the house, my stomach turned cold, like my body sensed something before my brain could catch up. I remember stepping out of the Uber, staring past the driver's headrest at the long, lonely stretch of coastline where the rental was supposed to be, and for a split second I thought, this place doesn't want us here. I don't know why that was the first thing I thought. It doesn't make sense now that I say it out loud, but it's how it felt. Like the beach itself was warning us. The wind was off that day, too cold for Florida, and the air smelled like seaweed and iron. The sand around the area had no footprints, even though it was spring break weekend. No locals, no couples walking the waterline, no kids with kites or dogs chasing frisbees, just miles of wind-scoured emptiness. Behind me, the driver cleared his throat. "You sure this is it?" His voice broke whatever spell I was under. I forced a smile and nodded. "Yeah, that's the address." He hesitated a beat too long, like he was thinking about arguing. Then he shrugged, popped the trunk, and let us haul out our luggage before driving away faster than necessary. The moment his car disappeared over the hill, the world fell weirdly quiet. It wasn't like other beach houses. No pastel paint, no wraparound deck, no cheerful windows full of sunlight. This one was plain, too plain. 2 stories, washed out gray wood and narrow vertical windows like narrow eyes cut into a skull. The driveway was cracked and overgrown, and the mailbox leaned like it had been hit by a truck years ago and never fixed. "Hell yeah," Jess said sarcastically, dragging her suitcase through the sand. "Dream vacation." I smirked, but it didn't stick. I was too focused on how wrong the place felt. My brain grabbed at logical reasons. It was old, it was remote, and sometimes remote places just feel weird. That's it. That's all it was. I repeated that to myself like a mantra. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Behind us, Marcus whistled. Pictures online didn't look like this. "Maybe it looks better inside," Kevin said. We all looked at him. Then we looked back at the house. None of us believed that. We were 4 friends, stupid, broke, and desperate for a cheap spring break escape before graduation. The listing online looked too good to be true because it was. $89 a night, beachfront? We didn't stop to ask why no one else had booked it. We didn't question why the only pictures were of the coastline, not the inside, or why the host, Ellen, used a profile picture that looked like a stock photo. We should have, but we didn't. And by the time we realized the truth, we were already trapped. The front door was heavier than any door I'd ever opened, like it belonged on a bunker instead of a beach house. It screeched as it opened, dragging against the warped frame. Jess winced. Jesus, what is this place made of, lead? The entryway smelled faintly of ocean rot. Not the normal salty breeze smell, but wet wood and something old. Something that had been sealed away too long. The floorboards creaked as we stepped in. There were no lights on inside. Just a few dusty windows letting in a thin strip of sunlight. The interior looked wrong again. Empty but not clean, like someone had moved out in a hurry years ago. Abandoned furniture. A crooked painting on the wall. A couch that sagged in the middle like something had sat there for a long, long time. "Okay, I hate this already," Jess whispered. Dibs not sleeping alone, Marcus said. Kevin forced a laugh. Come on, it's fine. Kinda spooky, but beachfront, right? I wasn't convinced. Something about the silence in the house pressed against my skull. Houses have sounds, AC hum, floor creaks, the distant fridge kicking in. This house felt like it was holding its breath. Let's at least open some windows, I said. Feels like a coffin in here. The house was colder inside than outside, strange for Florida. The walls seemed to hold the cold like a cave. I tugged open a long, narrow window in the living room and a rush of damp coastal air blew in. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw something upstairs move. I froze. There was a landing above the staircase. A wooden railing. A hallway that led to the second-floor bedrooms. Something, a sliver of motion, slid away from the top of the stairs. Too fast to see clearly, too solid to be imaginary. I stared, blinking, waiting. Nothing. The hallway was still empty. You're just jumpy, I told myself. It's fine. It's just a shadow. Just nerves. But if that were true, why did the back of my neck feel like someone was breathing on it? We unpacked slowly, sticking together as we explored the place. There were 3 bedrooms upstairs and 1 downstairs. We picked rooms like kids afraid of the dark, pretending we weren't all avoiding the one at the end of the second-floor hallway, the only door that was shut. No one mentioned it, no one touched it, but we all avoided it. It felt like the kind of door people don't open. There were no personal things inside the house. Not a single framed photo. Not a single note or phone charger or folded blanket. Not even silverware in the kitchen drawers. The cabinets were mostly empty, except one. The top cabinet next to the fridge was nailed shut. Only that one. Kevin tried prying it open with a butter knife. Bet the good stuff is in here. Maybe old booze or rats, I said. He stopped trying. We found a guest book on the TV stand, a handwritten log of people who had stayed here. The cover was cracked leather. The first page was dated 2003. Okay, this place is ancient, Jess said. Marcus flipped pages. People actually stayed here? The entries were strange. Amazing view. Quiet area. Too quiet. Won't come back. 2004. Woke up to footsteps upstairs. We were the only ones here. 2007. Felt watched the entire time. 2009. Saw the woman by the dunes again. She won't leave. 2010. Do not stay here. Something is wrong with the mirrors. 2012. She talks through the floorboards. 2014. We are not alone in this house. 2016. The handwriting was frantic and large, nearly ripping the page. Page torn out, page torn out, page torn out. Marcus closed the book. Okay, joke guest book, nice. Fake, Kevin agreed too quickly. Jess's voice was quiet. Then why does it feel real? No one answered. The sun dipped low and the house grew darker, colder. We explored less and less, sticking close to the couch in the living room like it was a life raft. Even with all the doors unlocked, it felt like the house had closed around us. By 10 p.m., the wind outside was howling like a storm was coming. The windows rattled in their frames. The ocean roared louder than before, like the tide was rising fast and angry. We made pasta with the tiny camp stove we brought, because the kitchen didn't have a working stove or microwave, or toaster, or coffee maker. We ate in a circle on the floor lit by 2 lanterns. No one pulled out their phones. No one turned on music. Conversation drifted. We tried to laugh. We failed. Around midnight, we got ready for bed. None of us said it, but we all knew tonight would be hard to sleep. Jess and I took the first bedroom upstairs, the one with the window overlooking the beach. Kevin and Marcus took the one across the hall. The third bedroom upstairs, the doorless one, had no bed and smelled like mold, so we avoided it. We didn't even go near the closed door at the end of the hall. Not once. There was a mirror in our bedroom. Tall, thin, built into the antique dresser. The glass was older than the house itself, warped, faintly stained. The kind of mirror that felt like it watched back. I hated it immediately. I tried to turn it toward the wall, but the thing was bolted to the wood. So I draped a beach towel over it. It should have ended there. Night 1. New place, weird vibes. Everyone goes to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. The air felt heavy, like I was breathing through a wet cloth. My heart wouldn't slow down. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard things. Soft creaks down the hallway, boards shifting, faint, measured footsteps moving above us. but there was no above us. That was the second floor. The roof was above us. Somewhere around 2 a.m. I heard it clearly. A slow, dragging step. Then another. Then another. Someone walking down the hallway outside our room. I held my breath and listened. The footsteps stopped, right outside our door. Then, a whisper, too faint to understand, too soft to be real, but I heard it. I swear I did, like someone was inches from the door, head pressed to the wood, listening to us sleep. My chest tightened so hard it hurt. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Didn't look at Jess, who I knew was awake too. I could feel the tension in her body radiating across the mattress. The whisper came again. Faint, wet, wrong somehow. My pulse hammered in my ears. I waited for a knock, or the doorknob to turn, or the footsteps to move. Again, nothing, just silence. A full minute passed, then another, then tap one. Light knock on the door, I almost screamed. Jess grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. We stared at the door in absolute terror. Neither of us spoke. Tap, a second knock. Harder. Not angry. Not desperate, almost curious. I don't know how long we stayed frozen. Eventually, the air shifted. The feeling of presence outside the door evaporated like it had never been there. The hallway went still. I waited another minute before I forced myself to speak. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. Jess didn't answer. Jess. Slowly, she turned her head to look at me. Her eyes were wide open. "I don't think we're alone," she whispered. "We didn't sleep. Not even for a minute. We waited for sunrise." Every noise made us flinch. Every creak sent fresh ice down my spine. Something was wrong with the house. Not haunted wrong. Not creaky old house wrong. Something else. Something aware. At 6:18 a.m., we finally heard footsteps again, but this time they were coming up the stairs. Heavy ones. Familiar ones. Kevin and Marcus. Thank God. Jess and I bolted out of bed and practically ripped the bedroom door open. For a long moment, none of us moved. We just stood there staring at the dunes where the road used to be, frozen in a quiet kind of terror, the kind that doesn't feel dramatic. Just wrong, slow, spreading, like realizing you're sinking in quicksand. "And panic won't help, yes," Jess whispered. "We're leaving. Now." "We can't," Kevin said, voice low. "We can walk out," Marcus said stubbornly. "The town isn't that far. Just follow the coastline." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But that sinking dread inside me wouldn't let me. I scanned the dunes again. Those massive, unnatural dunes that now sealed the house off from land. They weren't small piles of sand. They were tall as rooftops, packed solid like they'd been there forever. No road, no tire marks, nothing. Not a single trace the Uber had even been here last night, and worse, there were no footprints around us. Not ours, not anyone else's. The sand was untouched. "Guys," I said slowly, "where are our footprints from last night?" Kevin turned, looked back toward the beach, then at the front of the house. His face went pale. "We got here. We walked across the sand. There should have been a trail." But staring now, the sand around us was smooth. Not just like wind swept through, but like nothing had disturbed it. Like we had never arrived. "I don't like this," Jess whispered. "I don't like this at all." "Okay," Marcus said, clapping his hands once like he could break whatever spell this was. "Let's not freak out. We follow the coast. We find town. Someone will have a phone. Done." Kevin nodded. "Yeah, let's move." We went back inside, grabbed backpacks, water bottles, whatever snacks we had. Phones were useless now. No signal at all. Not even an emergency connection. I glanced back at the basement door while packing. It was still closed, but I couldn't shake the feeling someone was behind it, listening. As we left, I noticed something new. The guest book was back on the table, open, and a fresh line had been added to the last page. In rough, shaky handwriting. "Don't let her follow you, my blood ran cold." "Her who?" Jess's eyes met mine. She didn't have to say it. I already knew who she was thinking of. The person who whispered outside our door last night. We left the house. The wind was brutal, unnaturally strong, a cold current that seemed to come from nowhere, because the sky above the water was clear. No storm, no clouds, no explanation. We walked straight down the shoreline. The sand stretched endlessly in both directions. No hotels, no lifeguard towers, no piers, nothing. I thought there were resorts near here, Marcus muttered. There were, Jess said. At least online I saw, maybe we're just far down, Kevin cut in. Maybe we just need to get around that bend. He pointed far ahead where the beach curved. We walked for 15 minutes. Then 30. Then 40. The bend never got closer. It stayed the same distance away like it was moving with us. Jess stopped walking. We're not getting anywhere. Marcus threw down his backpack. Bullshit. We've been walking straight, Kevin paced, hands on his head. Maybe we're disoriented. Could be heat messing with us. It's not hot, I said. It's freezing. And it was. The wind was biting, as cold as winter storms. My fingers were numb. My lips felt chapped already. Salt burned my eyes. I looked back. The house was behind us again, right behind us, maybe 30 feet away, just there. Nobody moved. The blood in my veins felt like ice water. We didn't turn around, Jess said, voice trembling. We didn't, so how? It's not possible, Marcus whispered. Kevin backed away from the house. We keep moving. We already tried that, Jess said. No, he said. We only walked one direction. Maybe we have to go inland. We all turned slowly toward the dunes. They towered over us, ridges of pale sand stacked high. The grass that grew out of them looked dead and blackened. There was no path through them, no gaps, no sign of anything beyond. We climb, Kevin said, and so we tried. Climbing dunes looks easy until you try it. Every step up your foot sinks, your weight drags you backward. You breathe harder, your legs burn. We climbed in short bursts, forcing our way up, halfway up. I glanced over my shoulder. The house was closer now, at the base of the dune, even though we'd been climbing up. I looked away and climbed faster. By the time we reached the ridge, my chest burned. My throat tasted like salt and metal. I pulled myself up the last few feet and stood. My legs buckled. There was nothing behind the dunes, not a forest, not a road, not a highway, just more dunes. Endless dunes. An ocean of shifting hills stretching into infinity. No birds, no sky change, no planes, no sign of the world at all. I turned to Kevin, who stared blankly at the horizon. Marcus cursed under his breath. Jess silently began to cry. We walked down the other side. The wind died. The world went still. And at the bottom of the dune, waiting for us, was the house I nearly threw up. It just sat there, impossible, silent, watching us. What is this? Jess cried. What the hell is this? I grabbed her arms. Jess, breathe. She shoved me away. No, I can't. This is wrong. This is wrong. Marcus bent over, hands on his knees. We're not leaving, are we? Kevin didn't answer, because he knew. None of us were. We went back inside. Not because we wanted to, but because being outside was somehow worse. At least inside, the walls made the terror feel smaller, contained, less infinite. Inside, the house wasn't exactly as we left it. Tiny things were different. The couch was closer to the window now. A drawer in the kitchen that had been closed was now hanging open. A wet trail of footprints led from the back door across the living room floor, stopping right at the bottom of the stairs, bare feet small, a woman's size, maybe. The footprints didn't lead back out the door, just in, like something had entered and stayed. Just saw them, then turned slowly toward the staircase. I didn't want to look. I swear to God I didn't. But my eyes followed hers. There, on the landing at the top of the stairs, half hidden in shadow, stood a woman. Her hair was long and dripping wet. Her skin was gray-blue like she'd been pulled from the ocean. Her head hung low, hair covering most of her face. But her eyes were wrong, too dark, too deep, too bottomless. She looked at us without moving, watching, waiting. Marcus stumbled back into a table so hard it rattled. Kevin whispered, "Don't move." The woman's head snapped toward him like a predator hearing prey. And that was when I realized she wasn't just looking at us. She recognized us. She knew us. With a slow, unnatural movement, she tilted her head. Bone-cracking sounds echoed in the silence. Jess whimpered beside me. Nobody spoke. Nobody breathed. The woman opened her mouth, and from somewhere inside the walls, we heard someone whisper, "Don't let her follow you." The woman vanished. Gone, like someone had cut her out of reality. I blinked hard and stared. My mind scrambled for logic, reason, anything. Nothing made sense. Kevin stumbled back. "Basement," he said. "Now, what no?" Jess snapped. "Are you serious? The basement?" "It's the only place she isn't," he said. "Did you see the wet trail? She didn't go down there." He was right, God help us, he was right. The basement door resisted opening like it didn't want us there. The hinges screamed as Kevin pulled. The smell hit us first, must-rot wet stone. The kind of air that felt old, sick. The stairs were steep wooden planks, half-rotten, descending into dark. We heard something move below us, raumpa and softly bow like fabric brushing against cement. "We're not going down there," Jess said firmly, stepping back. "Nope, no chance." "We don't have a choice," Kevin said. "Yes, we do," she shot back. "We go back upstairs and barricade the bedroom. We wait for sunrise again." "There was no sunrise," Kevin said. "Did you miss that part?" He lifted the lantern. "We're going." Marcus swallowed and nodded. Then he looked at me. "I hate this house," he said quietly. "Me too," I said. We followed Kevin down. The temperature dropped 10 degrees as we reached the bottom. The basement was larger than expected, far larger than the house should have allowed. Stone walls, dirt floor, wooden support beams like ribs of a skeleton. The air tasted stale, heavy. It didn't feel like a basement. It felt like a tunnel. Except there were no exits. Just stone. Except there was something. A wall at the back wasn't stone, it was wood. Old, weathered, warped. And in the center of it, door small, barely 4 feet tall. No handle, just a latch. A single symbol was carved into the wood above it, something jagged, ugly, and sharp. The sight of it made my head pound like a migraine, like looking at it wasn't allowed. Jess stepped back. "Nope, no, that's not, no." Marcus pointed with the lantern. "Why is there a room down here?" Kevin turned. "Who cares? If there's any chance someone else stayed in this house before us, they may have left something behind. A phone, tools, anything. Or a body," Jess muttered. I felt sick. The walls felt closer now. The room felt smaller. I didn't want to go near that door. I didn't want to know what was behind it, but I wanted to get out of that house more. Kevin reached for the latch. "Wait," I said. He paused. "What if it opens from the other side too?" "What?" "What if," I said carefully, "we're not opening it? What if we're letting something out?" Nobody spoke. Kevin's jaw tightened. "We need to know what's happening," he said finally. He lifted the lantern and unlatched the door. It creaked open. Inside was dark. Not regular dark, deep dark. Like light didn't want to exist there. The air that poured out carried a faint smell of seawater. And something else, something foul underneath. The lantern flickered. Jess grabbed my arm so hard it hurt. Slowly, Kevin stepped inside. "Kevin," I warned. He held up a hand. "It's okay. Then he froze. His voice dropped to a whisper. "Oh my God." "What?" Marcus asked. Kevin didn't answer. Kevin was gone, dragged into the dark right in front of us. Not pulled through a secret door or trap, not taken upstairs. No, there was nothing logical or explainable. Something had just reached out of the shadows and taken him, and we let it. We didn't go after him. We didn't even try. Terror didn't just freeze us, it buried us. By the time I could even move again, by the time Marcus stopped screaming his name, the basement was silent. He was gone. Completely gone. "Kevin!" Marcus roared again, voice cracking as it bounced off the basement walls. No reply, no breathing. Just a dense silence thick as tar. He took a step toward the bottom of the stairs. I grabbed his shirt. No, don't do it." He shoved me back so hard I slammed against a support beam. "We can't leave him. You go down there, you won't come back." I yelled, "We can't leave him." He screamed again, voice breaking into something raw. Jess stepped between us, shaking. Tears streaked her face. "He's not there anymore. Marcus, he's gone." "How the hell do you know that?" Marcus snapped. "Because I saw what took him," she said. My stomach twisted. What did you see?" Jess swallowed shakily. "When the light flickered, I saw her. The woman. The one from the stairs. The one from the mirror. She was behind him, Jess said in a trembling voice. Her hands, God, her fingers were inside his leg, pulling through skin like clay. And she was smiling again, like she was happy we brought her someone new. Marcus backed away, breathing hard. You're lying, Jess shook her head slowly. I wish I was. We practically crawled up the basement stairs. Not because we wanted to be careful, because it felt like something was behind us, moving just out of view. Watching, listening, waiting. Jess slammed the basement door shut. The latch clicked, and we all stepped away from it like it might explode open. Marcus sank against the wall, face white, breathing too fast. Panic attack. Jess slid to the floor, shaking violently. I stared at the basement door. The wood felt wrong now, thicker, like it had grown roots, like it was a lid keeping something in. Or keeping us from falling down with it. The basement was different than the rest of the house. The house felt haunted. The basement felt alive. An hour passed. Maybe 2. The light outside never changed. Pale gray morning stuck in a loop. Not moving, time didn't feel real anymore. Every second stretched. Every sound made us jump. Jess sat on the couch, knees pulled tight to her chest, rocking slightly. Her eyes were red and glassy. She hadn't spoken in a long time. Marcus was no better. He paced non-stop, muttering. Then he stopped pacing. Then he just stood in the corner, staring at nothing. I watched them, but my mind kept replaying the moment Kevin vanished. That last scream. That look in his eyes, like he knew we wouldn't save him, and he was right, we didn't. The silence stretched until it snapped. Thud. Single heavy footstep above us, not creaking wood. A footstep. Slow. Deliberate. Jess flinched hard, covering her ears. Marcus froze. Another step above us. In the hallway. My stomach dropped. Nobody said it, but we were all thinking the same thing. There was no attic. There was no third floor. The footsteps moved overhead, slow as dripping water, heel toe. Crossing above the living room now, heading toward the stairs. No, Jess whispered. No. We backed away as the footsteps descended one step at a time. The old staircase groaned with each step, but those sounds were buried under something else now. Breathing. Not human breathing. Wet. Labored. Uneven. I stared at the base of the stairs, waiting to see feet appear, except they never did. The footsteps stopped halfway, down the steps. Then we heard the slow slide of fingers, wrapping around the banister railing. Didn't wait to see what was coming. Into a room, move, I hissed. We bolted down the hall. I grabbed the first door I could, the bathroom, and yanked it open. We threw ourselves inside and slammed the door shut. I locked it, then pushed the small cabinet in front of it. Jess curled into the corner, arms over her head. Marcus grabbed a towel rack like a weapon. I pressed my ear to the bathroom door and listened. Nothing, no. Steps, no breathing. The house held its breath. Again, seconds passed. Then something scraped across the hallway floor. Something heavy. Jess squeezed her eyes shut. Marcus gripped the towel rack tighter. Silence again. Then, tap. Tap, tap. Knocking. Except it wasn't on the bathroom door. It was inside the bathroom with us. 3 slow knocks from inside the medicine cabinet mirror. I turned. The mirror was just a rectangle of silver glass. But now there were small ripples moving across the surface, like something was pressing against it from the other side. My throat closed. Jess shook her head violently. I told you. Mirrors, she uses mirrors. The words from the secret photo room burned into my mind. Mirrors are her doorways. The glass trembled again. Then, a wet fingertip pressed against the inside of the mirror, leaving a trail, writing something. Letters dragged slowly across the inside surface, backward. A message forming from behind the glass. I read it as it completed. Where is Kevin? My heart stopped. Marcus dropped the towel rack. Jess sobbed. I found my voice barely. He's gone, I whispered. You took him. Another line began to write. Deliberate. Wet. No, another. Not yet another. Bring him back to me. My blood ran cold. She didn't kill. Kevin, not yet. He was still alive. Somewhere. Marcus stepped forward. Where is he? Where did you take him? The mirror rippled, new words formed, smaller, more frantic, as if something else was writing now, something struggling. Do not listen to her. She does not want him. She wants. You get out before she finds your name she can only keep. You, if she knows your name, do not tell her your name. The message cut off. The mirror cracked down the center like something had punched it from behind. Jess screamed. The bathroom light flickered, violently, buzzing, flashing, then the bulbs exploded. Glass sprayed down. Total. Darkness swallowed us. I didn't think, I just moved. We shoved the cabinet out of the way, burst from the bathroom, and sprinted toward the back of the house. I didn't care where we went. I just knew I needed space, air, distance, no walls. The back door loomed ahead. I ripped it open, and the world outside was gone. Not the ocean. Not the dunes. Not the sky. Everything was gone. There was nothing but black fog out there. A rolling pitch-black storm of smoke and static. No horizon, no sound. No world, just a void. Marcus backed away. What is that? Jess covered her mouth. No. I stared into it. It wasn't emptiness. Something moved inside the fog, something massive, something watching. I slammed the door shut. The house trapped us again, worse this time, like it had shrunk, cutting off exits. Closing in. Marcus ran to the front door and twisted the knob. Locked. I tried to open a window. Nailed. Shut. Another one. Same. I threw a lamp through a pane of glass. It hit the surface and bounced off like the glass. Was solid metal now, no cracks, no shatter, no escape. Jess grabbed my arm. I don't want to die here. You won't, I said automatically. You don't know that, she said. She was right, I didn't. We heard something upstairs. Laughter, a man's laughter, weak, painful, familiar. Kevin, Marcus whispered. The laugh came again, broken this time, strangled, echoing from upstairs. Marcus moved before I could stop him. Marcus, I hissed. Wait, slow down. He stormed up the stairs. Jess and I had no choice but to follow. The hallway at the top seemed longer now, stretched, warped by perspective. Doors looked farther apart. The walls leaned inward slightly, like the house had inhaled. Kevin's voice echoed from the room at the end of the hall. The door that was always closed. Marcus reached it. Grabbed the knob, it turned easily, too easily. Stop, I begged. Please. He threw it open. The smell hit first. Salt, rot, damp hair, and something else, metallic. The room was dark, but we could see enough. Shadows moved along the walls. Something dripped steadily from the ceiling. The wallpaper peeled. The bed frame was broken, bent at an angle, and Kevin was inside, on the floor, crawling. He dragged himself toward us, nails scraping wood. His clothes were soaked, his skin pale, lips blue. He reached the doorway and collapsed at our feet. Jess dropped to her knees. Kevin, oh my God. He lifted his head slowly, his eyes. They weren't human. Something moved behind them, something. That didn't belong, he smiled, too wide, too. Slowly, water dripped from his teeth. Hey guys, he said weakly. You left me down there, Marcus choked. We thought you were gone? Kevin finished. No, not gone. He reached out and grabbed Marcus's wrist tightly, skin to skin. I'm right here, he said. And then something crawled up his arm. At first I thought it was a shadow, just a trick of light, but then it clung to him, long, limb-like, thin as a dead branch. A hand, a cold, pale hand slid out from under Kevin's soaked shirt, then another, then a head. Her head, the woman. She was inside him, wrapped around his body like a parasite. Her skull peeked out beneath his ribs. Her hair poured from under his clothes in strands of seaweed. She looked up at us from inside Kevin, eyes hollow, mouth split in a smile full of water. Jess screamed. Marcus stumbled back and fell. Kevin still smiled. She knows your names now, he said softly. She knows all of them. My blood stopped moving. Names, the mirror message. I didn't breathe. None of us did. The darkness inside the hallway felt alive now, thick as seawater. The walls pulsed. The air tasted metallic and rotten, like salt water soaked in blood. I could feel the ground shifting under my feet. The house wasn't stable anymore. It was shifting, reforming, awakening. Kevin, or whatever he had become, stood only a few feet away. His head tilted slightly like he was straining to hear our heartbeat. Something moved under his skin, pushing and stretching flesh from the inside like it was thin cloth. There was no more fight left in him. Just a smile fixed too wide, too still. Behind his skin she waited. "Give him back," Marcus begged through clenched teeth, voice shaking but still trying to sound tough. "Take me instead." The thing that used to be Kevin stared at Marcus, expression unreadable. Then it laughed. Quietly. "Wrong. You don't decide," it whispered. I grabbed Marcus and pulled him back. We had only seconds before it lunged. I could feel it. Instinct screamed at me. "Run! Downstairs," I whispered. "Now." Marcus hesitated, frozen again. Jess grabbed his hand. "We don't leave Kevin," Marcus said. "Not again." "We're not," I lied. "Come on." We ran. Past the soaked shape of Kevin standing stiff in the hall, past the broken bedroom door, past the unnatural cold pushing in around us. I didn't look back. I couldn't. If I looked at his face again, her face inside his, I might break completely. We flew down the stairs, tripping over each other. The whole house groaned like a ship caught in a storm, wood bending and cracking under invisible weight. The moment our feet hit the first floor again, the lights surged back on, all at once. Every room lit up. The lamps, the kitchen light, even the basement lamp we left on when Kevin disappeared, all of it glowed with a steady golden warmth. The house looked normal again, silent, empty, like nothing had happened. Jess stumbled back. Marcus looked around, chest heaving. Where is he? Where did he go?" he whispered. I scanned the hallway. Kevin was gone, but he wasn't gone, he was just waiting. We didn't trust the quiet, not for a second. Anything normal now was a trap, too late to pretend. This house had already shown us exactly what it was, but at the same time, something had changed. I could feel it. Tension had shifted, like we weren't prey anymore. We were players. It wanted something. It was letting us choose our next move. Jess wiped her face. "What do we do?" I already knew the answer. "We go back to the basement," I said. The basement door stood at the end of the hall, closed, still latched. It didn't look menacing anymore. Just another door, that was worse. Marcus swallowed. He didn't argue this time. He walked with me. Just behind both of us, I gripped the basement doorknob. Cold, I pulled it open. The single dangling light bulb at the bottom still burned. Nothing moved below, but there was something new. A voice. Kevin. He was whispering, begging. "Please, please help me. Don't let her take me. Please, please, I don't want to go in again." Jess broke instantly. She pushed past us and stumbled down the stairs. Kevin, we're here!" "Jess, wait!" I shouted. Too late, we followed. Kevin knelt in the center of the basement, facing the far wall. Shoulders shaking. Hands covering his face. He looked human again. Same clothes, same hair, same familiar shape. Jess dropped to her knees beside him and threw her arms around him. "I thought we lost you," she sobbed. I thought. He didn't move, didn't hug her. Back slowly, so slowly. Kevin lowered his hands and turned to look at us. He was smiling, but it wasn't his smile. "Thank you for bringing her to me," he whispered. Hand shot from his chest and grabbed Jess by the jaw. I saw her nails tearing her own face as it dragged her backward. Her scream cut short as she was pulled into the wall. Into the wall, reality tore. The basement wall split open like wet cloth. Inside the tear was no room, no space. Just a pulsing void of black water and sunken faces. Jess disappeared inside. Gone. The wall sealed up again with a sick, wet sound, like she never existed. Marcus screamed her name. I lunged, grabbed him before he could throw himself into the wall after her. He fought me, screaming, sobbing, clawing at my arms, but I held on with everything I had. Kevin stood. No, she stood. He was just her skin now. "You took something from me when you came here," she said through him. "Now I take something from each of you." Marcus broke. Completely broke. He collapsed to his knees, hands tangled in his hair. No tears left. Just empty. I pulled him behind the workbench. The basement was too open, too exposed. My hands shook violently as I reached for anything, any tool. Any object, anything that could help. Then I saw it. In the corner, under the shelf, a trapdoor, small, old iron handle rusted, a crawl space hidden. She didn't want us to see it, which meant that was exactly where we had to go. I pointed. Marcus followed my eyes. He nodded slowly. We moved. Kevin's head snapped toward us. Bones shifted under his skin like someone else was pulling him from the inside. Come back, he croaked. Please, don't leave me here with her. I didn't. Listen, I grabbed the iron handle. It wouldn't budge. Locked Marcus. Dropped to his knees and dug through the workbench drawers until he found something, a pry bar. He shoved it into my hands behind us. Footsteps dragged closer. We didn't speak. I jammed the bar under the trapdoor and threw my weight against it. Wood splintered. Rust cracked behind us, breathing, wet and inhuman. Let me show you, Kevin whispered from the dark. Let me show you where the others went. The trapdoor ripped open. Marcus didn't hesitate. He dropped into the hole. I followed, pulling the door shut behind me just as footsteps reached the edge. Darkness swallowed us. My knees hit cold dirt. The crawl space was narrow, support beams overhead, pipes running along the walls. The air down here smelled like old soil and seawater. Marcus fumbled with my phone, turned the flashlight on. The beam cut through darkness, revealing a narrow tunnel stretching deep under the house. No, beyond the house. Marcus stared, speechless. There were markings on the walls. Old carvings, symbols burned into wood and stone, and words, names, hundreds of them, carved, scratched, smeared in places with what looked like blood. Some freshly torn into the dirt, some so old they were barely readable, but they were all names. Why would she write names? Marcus whispered. She doesn't write them, I said quietly. Then who the hell does? I swallowed hard. People who came here before us. Marcus looked at me and I finally understood. She keeps us if she knows our names. He stared at the walls, then he understood too. She collects us. We crawled deeper. Every few feet the tunnel forked. Each branch was marked with more names, people lost to the house. Some names were familiar. Last names we saw on the photo room walls. Upstairs, families, groups, couples, but one inscription stood above all the others. Burned, deep into wood, older than the house itself. Brushed dirt away from the letters. 5 words carved like a warning. The sea does not give back, he didn't understand. Not then. But I would, and when I did, God help me, I wished I hadn't. The tunnel narrowed again until only one path remained. At the end of it, a wooden door, barely hanging on old rusted hinges. Something moved beyond it, I could hear. Waves. Marcus turned to me, whispering, She said she wants to go home. Yeah, I said. That means, I nodded. This wasn't a haunting, this was a boundary. This house, this land, this path, it was a doorway. Marcus pushed the door, it opened, and we stepped out into the ocean. But not our ocean, not our world. This sky wasn't a sky, it was a void. Endless darkness pressed above us, broken only by a faint gray glow somewhere. Deep. Like we were at the bottom of a dead sea, looking up at a world we'd never reach again. The water lapped against gray sand, all around us. Rusted ship masts and driftwood pierced the ground like grave markers, and half buried in the tide, bodies, hundreds. Some freshly drowned, some skeletal, some drifting just under the surface. Hair floating like seaweed, they whispered. Not words, just a low, desperate hum. Marcus broke down. I almost did too. Where is she? He whispered. We both already knew the answer. She was in the water. There, at the edge, was a silhouette rising from the waves. Pale, thin, dripping. She stepped closer and stepped wrong. Bones shifting, head tilting in impossible angles. Her face was hidden behind wet hair, but I could feel her eyes. I could feel her recognizing me, because she knew my name now. Marcus stepped forward. Take me, just take me. Let him go. Her head snapped toward him, then she pulled something out of the waves. A body. Jess. She was alive, but barely. Lips blue, skin drained of all warmth. She clawed weakly at the ground as if trying to escape. Jess looked at us, and I will never forget her eyes, empty, defeated, broken. Marcus dropped beside her. She reached for him, fingers trembling. He grabbed her hand, sobbing. I turned back to the woman. "What do you want?" I yelled over the hissing tide. "Why us?" She tilted her head. Then she spoke, and her voice wasn't human. It sounded like 1,000 drowned throats struggling to speak at once. "I have always been here." Wind tore across the shore. Water surged around us. "I was cast ashore long before your kind was born. The sea took my name. I took its children. It does not miss them, but I keep them all." She reached out a hand, her palm opened. Kevin's face appeared in the water, screaming. Her hand closed. His scream died. "You don't need us," I choked out. "You have hundreds, thousands, let us go." She stepped closer. I could smell the tide in her breath. "You crossed the threshold. There is no return. This is the price of being found. Please," I whispered. "We didn't know." She leaned in, hair dripping over my face, voice crawling inside my skull. "You do now, Force." I didn't notice the room was wrong until the second night. At first, it just felt like a normal spring break trip. Too many people crammed into one cheap hotel room, eating cold pizza at 2 a.m. and pretending we weren't already tired of each other. We weren't supposed to even stay at the Coral Bay Hotel. It wasn't on the beach, didn't have a pool, and smelled like old cigarettes soaked into cheap curtains. But by the time we reached Panama City Beach, everything under $200 a night was sold out. So we settled for a 3-story roadside hotel off a quiet strip, paint peeling off the railings, neon sign flickering like a dying pulse. Coral Bay Hotel. The missing letters bothered me more than I wanted to admit. It felt like the building itself was already falling apart before we even stepped inside. We booked room 313. By we, I mean me, Olivia, Carter, and Zoe, friends since high school, seniors now, on last reckless week before life scattered us in different directions. I had this idea in my head that trips like this were supposed to be wild and stupid memories you'd look back on when you got old. That's not what this trip is going to be for me. I'm writing this now because something is wrong in this room. Very wrong. Something watches us here. Something knows us. And I think we're trapped. Room 313 was at the end of the 3rd-floor hallway. The elevators didn't work, so we dragged our bags up the stairs. The hallway carpet had dark, sticky stains nobody asked questions about. A maid cart sat parked against the far wall, abandoned. Nobody around. Not a single door had a "Do Not Disturb" tag. I felt it then. The first warning in my gut. This hallway was too quiet. Olivia laughed and shoved me from behind. "Stop being paranoid," she said. "It's a cheap hotel, not The Shining." I didn't say anything. Because if this trip had a narrator, it would be me. And I'd already seen enough horror to know when something felt off. But nobody listens to the cautious friend on a spring break trip. Nobody wants the vibe ruined. So I shut up and unlocked the room. Room 313 looked completely normal. 2 queen beds, a tiny table, a buzzing mini-fridge, beige hotel art bolted to the walls. AC unit groaning in the window. It smelled like old fabric softener and faint mildew. Just average, boring. Fine, I told myself I was imagining things. I wasn't. The first night, nothing weird happened. We dumped our stuff, changed clothes, and hit the beach until after midnight. Olivia flirted with the bartenders. Carter shotgunned beers to impress the girls next to us. Zoe and I danced barefoot in the sand, sweat sticky on our skin, music thumping through our bones. By the time we piled into an Uber back to the hotel, we were sunburned, exhausted, and a little drunk. The perfect spring break cliché. Normal, safe. It was past 3 a.m. when I fell asleep. I didn't even remember dreaming. The second night, everything changed. I don't know what woke me. Maybe the AC cut off. Maybe a car alarm outside chirped once and died. Maybe I never truly fell asleep at all. But my eyes snapped open in the dark and my whole body knew something was wrong. I didn't move. Just listened. Olivia breathed softly in the bed across from me. Zoe was out cold near my feet. Carter snored from the mattress by the bathroom. Everything was still, and yet, I wasn't imagining it. Someone else was in the room. I heard them breathing, slow, unsteady, wet. It was coming from the corner. I slowly reached over Zoe and grabbed my phone. I turned the screen on and its low light spilled into the room, but there was nothing, just shadows and furniture. My pulse took a while to slow. I finally forced myself to lay back and try again to sleep. 5 minutes later, I heard the creaking. Not the bed. Not the AC floorboard, someone shifting their weight. Inside the room, I held still, pretending to sleep. My eyes barely open, the sound came again. Creak. Someone was moving. In the dark, painfully slow, like they were trying not to wake us. Through a gap between blankets, I saw a shape now, standing near the door. Tall. Still. Watching. My throat closed. My skin turned to ice. They just stood there. Then stepped closer. No. No. Wake. The others. Do it now. I opened my mouth to warn them, and froze. Again. Carter turned over in his sleep and mumbled something. The figure moved away, fast, and slipped into the bathroom. The door clicked shut. I waited. 1 minute, 2, 3, no one came out. I sat up. My hands were shaking. I looked at the others. Still asleep. That didn't make sense. A stranger had been inside the room. I grabbed a glass bottle from the nightstand, quietly climbed out of bed. My chest felt crushed, every breath tight and shaky. I reached the bathroom door. Listened. Nothing. I slowly turned the knob and opened it. Pitch black. The light switch clicked. Empty. No footprints on the tile. No movement. No one inside. Shower curtain untouched, just a silent bathroom. I was losing it. Had to be. I stepped back out and glanced around the room again. Then I saw it, something small on the carpet by the door. I picked it up. A hotel key card. Not ours. Room number printed on it. My heart stopped. Who the hell had a second key to our room? I tried to tell the others in the morning. They didn't care. Carter shrugged. Housekeeping probably walked in by accident. At 3 in the morning? I snapped. Zoe yawned. Dude, we were drunk. You probably dreamed it. I wasn't drinking last night, I said. Olivia was brushing mascara in the mirror. If someone was in the room, why would they just stand there? And why go to the bathroom? I didn't have an answer, because nothing about last night made sense, and the worst part? None of them believed me. I slipped the extra key card into my pocket. Proof. One day it might matter, and that brings me to right now, night. 3 pond, everyone is asleep again as I'm writing. This, except I know, we're not alone. It's happening again. The air just changed, heavier, like someone else is breathing inside this room. A floorboard creaked by the door. I'm not turning the light on this time. I'm pretending I don't notice. I hear movement. Slow, purposeful. Closer and closer. I think they're standing next to my bed. I can hear their breathing. Jesus God, it's right. Next to my face, the air smells wrong. Wet, like lake water and old skin. They're whispering. I can't make the words out, too. Soft. Wait, they're moving again. Fuck, my hands are shaking. Oh God, the closet just opened. I heard it. I swear to God, I heard the closet door slide. I'm not making this up. There's someone hiding in the closet right now. They're inside the room. They've been watching us all night. I don't know why they picked this room. I don't know what they want, but I'm going to find out. Because tomorrow, I'm setting up a camera. I barely slept last night. Even when the room finally went silent again, I kept my eyes open until the first hint of daylight crept through the blinds. I just lay there frozen, listening for anything else. That breathing. That movement. The whispering near my bed in the closet. That fucking closet. I wanted to check it in the morning, prove to myself I wasn't insane. But I didn't get the chance. By the time the others were up, it felt like we were just pretending everything was normal. Nobody wanted to talk about what I heard, not even me. And then things got worse. Because today, the hotel started showing its teeth. I finally decided to go downstairs around noon and talk to management. Not because I thought they'd actually help, just because I needed someone else to hear me. Someone who would treat this like it mattered. The front desk was empty at first. A little silver bell sat on the scratched laminate counter. I tapped it once. No answer. I leaned over the counter a little, trying to peek into the office behind it. Computer. Stacks of old receipts. Coffee mug. No people. I rang the bell again, louder. Footsteps approached from the hallway behind the front desk. slow, dragging steps. A man stepped out and stared at me without blinking. He was in his late 50s, maybe. Thin, pale like paper. His uniform shirt was wrinkled, collar crooked. His hair was slicked back but still looked greasy. There was something wrong with his eyes. They were dull and cloudy like he hadn't slept in weeks. His name tag said Hank. I swallowed. Hi. Sorry to bother you, I just wanted to report something. He didn't respond. Didn't even nod. Just watched me. I forced myself to keep going. Someone came into our room last night. Room 313. And it wasn't housekeeping because it was the middle of the night, and he cut me off. Not with words, just with a slight shake of his head. Tiny, barely noticeable, like he already knew what I was going to say. My skin went cold. Do you have security cameras in the hallways? I asked. I'm not trying to make trouble. I just need to know how someone else got a key to our room. He finally spoke, voice low and flat. There are no cameras on the 3rd floor. He didn't look away from me. Didn't blink, my mouth felt dry. Okay, but can you at least check who else has key access to the room? He stared at me a second longer before answering. Nobody else has a key to that room. I pulled the extra key card from my pocket and set it on the counter. Then what's this? He didn't move. Didn't look at it. I could feel tension growing in my neck. Someone was in our room last night, okay? I heard them. They were standing right next to me. We're not safe there. Hank's lips pressed tight. His jaw clenched once. For a second he almost looked, nervous. Then he finally said, if you want to switch rooms, we can arrange that. But if I were you, I'd leave. I blinked. Leave the hotel? He nodded. But we already paid. He leaned forward slowly, his expression stiff and unnatural. Some rooms shouldn't be rented. Yours is one of them. My heart stopped. What does that even mean? I whispered. He didn't answer. I picked up the key card and stepped back. I suddenly had the overwhelming feeling that I should not be talking to him. That something about him was part of all this. I left without another word. When I got back to the room, nobody took me seriously. Again. Dude, Carter groaned from his bed, sunglasses still on indoors like an idiot. You're freaking out over a dream. We came here to relax and you're acting like we're in a crime documentary. I talked to the front desk. The guy there practically told me our room is dangerous. Or maybe, Olivia said in her signature bitch voice, he meant this whole place is a shithole and we should have gone somewhere else. Congrats. Mystery solved. You didn't see him, I snapped. He was weird, like warning me without actually saying it. Zoe was sitting cross-legged on her bed, scrolling through her phone. She looked up at me for a second. You still have that extra key? I held it up. She stared at it a moment, then sighed. Okay, look, I'm not saying I believe you. But if it helps, maybe we do what you said last night. Set up a camera. I nodded quickly. Yes, thank you, finally. Carter scoffed. We're not turning this into some witch hunt, ghost hunting bullshit, bro. Then sleep, I said. I don't care. I'll set it up. I didn't care if they believed me anymore. I just needed proof. Something I could shove in their faces tomorrow so we could all get the hell out of here. That night, while everyone else got ready for another beach party, I stayed behind. I told them I had a headache. Olivia rolled her eyes. Carter called me dad and told me not to be lame. Zoe asked if I wanted her to stay. I lied and said no. The truth was, I didn't want anyone else here tonight. Not until I knew what we were dealing with. As soon as they left, I locked the door and killed the lights. I propped my phone on a stack of books facing the room. The wide angle caught everything. Both beds, the closet, the front door, and the bathroom. I hit record. The room was silent except for the low hum of the AC. I sat on the bed closest to the door, facing the camera, and waited. An hour passed. Then, 2. I almost started to think nothing was going to happen. Maybe I'd sit here for 5 hours and feel like an idiot. Then, I heard it. The same soft creaking sound from last night. Floorboards. Shifting. I sat up and held my breath. It came from the closet, slow, deliberate, like someone shifting their weight inside. Waiting. I didn't move. I didn't look. I didn't want them to know I heard. The closet door slid open just a couple of inches. I saw it. Out of the corner of my eye. My pulse pounded so hard I could barely hear over it. I stayed. Still waited. Then I saw a hand. Gray. Wet-looking. Long. fingers curling around the closet door frame. It didn't look human, it didn't move like a hand. It dragged along the wood in slow, shaky lines, like it had to think about every motion. The door slid again, a little more. A face appeared. I bit down on a scream so hard I tasted blood. It was a man. Pale skin warped and bloated, veins black under his skin, eyes sunken, lips gray. He was drenched, his hair dripping, water spotting the carpet under him. He didn't blink, didn't breathe. He stepped out of the closet. Water dripped onto the floor. One drop at a time, my hands were shaking. Sweat ran down my back. He started walking toward me as slow as possible. Head tilted, eyes fixed on me like he already knew me. I couldn't move. He stopped a foot away, close enough that I could smell him, lake water, rot, death. He leaned down, close to my ear, and in a voice like rushing water and broken glass, he whispered something I will never forget. "You shouldn't have come back." My blood froze. My body snapped out of paralysis and I ran. I grabbed the phone and bolted for the door, but before I reached it, I turned back. He was gone, vanished, no water on the floor. Closet closed. No trace he had ever been there, except I had it on camera. I looked down at my phone, heart in my throat, screen black. Recording stopped. Video file. Gone. No. No. I checked again. No video. It was like it had never been recorded. When the others came back around 1 a.m., drunk and sunburned, I tried to tell them again. Tried to explain. Tried to make them understand. They didn't believe me. Not even Zoe. "I'm trying, dude," she said quietly. "I really am. But if you're messing with us, I'm not. Then you're scaring me." "Good. You should be scared." I realized my voice was shaking. My hands, too. I knew how I sounded. Desperate, crazy, but I didn't care anymore. "We're leaving tomorrow," I said. "All of us. First thing." "Pack your shit," Carter laughed. "Not happening." Olivia crossed her arms. "Just because you're having a breakdown doesn't mean we're canceling spring break." "I'm serious," I said. "Something is in this room." It came out of the closet. It spoke to me. "Did it also tell you who killed JFK?" Carter muttered. Zoe didn't laugh. She just watched me with wide, anxious eyes. "Look," she said softly. "Just get some sleep, okay? If you still feel like this tomorrow, we'll talk then, promise." I didn't argue, not because I agreed, but because it didn't matter what I said anymore. I knew what I saw, I knew what I heard, and I knew this room wasn't done with us. Everyone else fell, asleep within minutes. I didn't. I turned to face the window, watching headlights pass on the highway below. A breeze leaked in from somewhere, just enough to make the curtains shift. That's when I noticed something new. The hallway outside. I could hear footsteps. Slow. Even. Walking up and down the hall. Over and over. Back and forth. I got up and went to the door. I pressed my ear against it. Listened. The footsteps stopped right outside our door. My stomach dropped. A low sound floated through the door frame. A deep glitching whisper. Like breathing through broken lungs, then fingertips tapped the door, soft, familiar, like last night. Tap, 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 no. One else woke up. I reached slowly for the peephole. I pressed my eye to it. At first, I didn't see anyone. Then someone stepped into view, a tall man, head tilted, eyes wide, as if he had been staring at the peephole from just outside it. He smiled, but it wasn't real. His skin didn't move with the smile. Just his lips, stretched, too far, too long, and I knew that was the same thing that came out of the closet. I didn't sleep after what I saw through the peephole. I couldn't. The thing in the hallway stood there smiling through the metal fisheye lens like it had been waiting for me to look. I must have stayed frozen at the door for 2, maybe 3 minutes, afraid to breathe, afraid to move, afraid it knew I was watching. But eventually, the footsteps moved away. Not walked, dragged, like wet feet across carpet. I waited a long time before backing away from the door. My legs shook so badly I had to sit down on the floor beside the bed just to stay upright. The others slept through everything. I kept wishing one of them had woken up and seen what I saw. Anything to prove I wasn't alone in this, but now, I know why they didn't. This room chooses who it wants, and it chose me first. I don't remember falling asleep, but I must have. When I opened my eyes, daylight was leaking weakly through the blinds. For a moment I lay there in silence, listening. The room felt different this morning. Stale. Empty in a way I couldn't describe. Like something had left. But something else stayed behind. Carter was awake first, scrolling through TikTok in bed. Olivia was asleep next to him, full glam makeup smeared across her pillow from last night. Zoe's bed was empty. I sat up. "Where's Zoe?" Carter didn't look up. Dunno, probably went to get coffee. She didn't take her shoes. What? I pointed to the corner. Her sneakers sat right next to her bag, untouched. Her hoodie was still thrown over the chair, too. Carter frowned like this annoyed him way more than it should have. Maybe she walked barefoot or some shit. "In February?" I snapped. "Are you serious?" I checked the bathroom. Empty. I checked the hallway. Empty. The elevator still broken. The stairwell smelled like damp concrete and cigarettes. No Zoe. I came back into the room and started pacing. Something in me was screaming that she hadn't walked out, hadn't just gone somewhere. Something happened, something in this room. Olivia finally woke up and rubbed her eyes dramatically. "Why are you slamming shit?" "Zoe's gone," I said. She gave me a blank stare. "Yeah, she does that. Chill. She's probably FaceTiming her mom." "No," I said. "No, she would have left a note. She would have said something." "This isn't—" Carter threw the covers off and stood. "Hey, enough. You've been weird since we got here." "Zoe is fine." "Can you stop acting like you're the main character of a horror movie?" I stepped toward him. "I'm not doing this with you again. I'm telling you she's missing. And I'm telling you you're losing it." The argument was getting loud and ugly fast. Olivia tried to wander into the bathroom to avoid it entirely. Typical. I checked the time. 11:42 a.m. Zoe wasn't the kind of person who disappeared. She didn't wander. She didn't go off alone. She hated being by herself. She said being alone made her overthink. And her phone was still charging on the table. So no, she wasn't fine. We searched the hallway again. We called her name. I knocked on every door down the third-floor corridor. No answer. Every room sounded silent, like nobody else was staying in this entire hotel. Then I saw something that stopped me cold. The maid cart. From our first night, the one abandoned in the hall was still there, exactly where it was 3 days. Ego hadn't moved an inch, same. Towels. Same cleaning spray can, same folded sheets, like, "Time didn't move here. Hello?" I called out toward the hallway corner where a dim exit sign buzzed. No answer. "Zoe?" My voice cracked. Still nothing. Carter leaned against the wall, exasperated. "So what's your plan? Search every single room until we find her? You think she got kidnapped? In a beach hotel?" "I think she's in danger." "We should call the cops," Olivia muttered from behind him. "And tell them what?" Carter snapped. "That our friend left the room for an hour and now we're hysterical?" "That she didn't leave," I said. "Her stuff is still inside." That's when she appeared, down the hall, coming slowly toward us. A hotel maid in a light blue uniform. She was pushing a different cleaning cart, one that wasn't abandoned, except she didn't seem to be doing any actual cleaning. There were no sheets in it, no supplies, just blank space. She stopped a few feet away. "Are you looking for your friend?" she asked. My blood ran cold. Carter straightened. "What did you say?" The woman looked straight at me when she spoke. "The other girl, the quiet one. You were 4, now you're 3. How do you know that?" I asked slowly. She didn't blink. Her eyes looked glassy and fevered. "She went into the wrong room," she whispered. My heart slammed. "What room?" The maid paused like she had to force herself to say it. "Room 313. Carter scoffed behind me. "Lady, that's our room." She shook her head slowly, then turned and walked away. Not down the hall, not toward the stairs, just around the corner. I followed her immediately. I sprinted after her. I turned the hall corner and she was gone. Vanished. No doors closing. No footsteps. Gone. When I got back to the room, I already knew where I had to look. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to face it. But I knew. If she never left, she was still here. I stood in front of the closet. The others watched me from the beds. "Dude, stop," Carter said. "This is fucked." I didn't listen. My hand closed on the closet handle. I pulled it open. Darkness. Too much darkness. It wasn't the inside of a normal closet. It went farther, too far. It didn't make sense. I reached my hand in. It didn't hit a wall. I took one step inside. Olivia screamed behind me. "Don't go in there!" I stepped in anyway. The air changed instantly. Wet. Heavy. Cold. Like oxygen didn't reach this place. Like this wasn't connected to the hotel anymore. I turned and looked behind me. The room was still there, but dim. Now. Farther away. Like I had stepped into another place. Entirely. Reached through some tear that wasn't supposed to exist. I called out, "Zoe!" Silence. Then, drip, 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 water. My foot hit something soft in the dark. Fabric. Reached down and grabbed it. Sweatshirt, Zoe's sweatshirt. I wasn't breathing. I turned back toward the entrance to climb back out. It was closing the closet door on its own. No. I dove forward and slammed into it, shoving it open again. I stumbled out of the closet and hit the carpet, gasping like I had been underwater. I threw the sweatshirt onto the bed. Olivia backed away from it. Carter ran both hands through his hair. "What the hell was that?" he whispered. He wasn't mocking anymore. Good. Finally, they believed me. We pulled everything out of the closet, took out the clothes, suitcases, bags, until the carpet was visible. That's when I saw the seam under the carpet edge. I pulled it back. There was a small trapdoor hidden underneath, a square cut directly into the floor with a simple metal ring to pull it open. Someone had covered it long ago. "Do not open that," Olivia said immediately. Carter was shaking. What the fuck kind of hotel is this? I looked at them both, and I knew one thing for certain now. Zoe didn't disappear. She was taken. "We open it," I said. Carter stared at me. "Are you insane?" "You saw what I saw," I said. "She's down there." "I know she is," he hesitated, then nodded once. I grabbed the loop and pulled the door open. Cold, heavy air rose from the darkness below. A ladder led down. I climbed down first. The metal ladder felt damp and cold like it had been underwater. My hands slipped twice and I wiped them on my clothes, but that didn't help. The air grew denser the deeper I went, heavy and stale like a place sealed off from the world for too long. Above me, Carter whispered down, "You good?" I didn't answer because I wasn't. Something about this place felt wrong, fundamentally wrong. Like gravity didn't work here the same way. Like sound got swallowed before it could echo. I finally reached the bottom. My shoes hit concrete. A cramped corridor stretched out before me, disappearing into black. The walls dripped. Water? Or something worse. A moment later, Carter climbed down behind me. Then Olivia, shaking but too scared to stay alone upstairs. The trapdoor above closed slowly, cutting off the only light. We were underground now, with no way out but forward. Turned on my phone flashlight. The beam cut through the dark and illuminated what looked like an old service tunnel. Rusted pipes, rotting insulation, crumbling tile. But worse than the decay were the markings on the walls. Names, hundreds of them, scratched into the tile with something sharp, like fingernails or broken glass. Molly, Alex, Thomas, Luke, Emma, Sarah, Brian, Alicia names. Just names, and under some of them, dates, all of them years apart. 2014, 2006, 1993, 1988, 1973, 1961. Olivia's voice trembled. Who are these people?" "Guests," I whispered. "Who never checked out? Where the hell did that come from?" Why did I say it like I knew it was true? Maybe I did. Maybe I knew this place didn't take visitors, it collected them. We kept moving, water dripped from somewhere unseen. The deeper we went, the stronger the smell of stagnant water became. The walls narrowed until we had to walk single file. Every step echoed as if something else walked just behind us, but when we stopped, the echo kept going. I froze. Carter crashed into me from behind. "Dude!" Shh, we listened. Footsteps came from behind us. Slow, heavy, not ours. Olivia whimpered. He followed us. I turned, pointed my flashlight behind us, empty tunnel. Then something stepped into view. Tall, pale, drenched, head tilted, staring at us with eyes so wrong, so hollow, they didn't look like they belonged to anything living. The man from the closet, the thing, and it wasn't alone. Behind him, more shapes began to emerge from the dark. Dozens of them, all soaking wet, all dead. Run! We didn't need to argue, we ran. The tunnel floor sloped downward. Our feet splashed into cold puddles, deeper and deeper ones, until water soaked our shoes. Behind us, the wet, dragging footsteps followed. We reached a room at the end of the tunnel and burst inside. I slammed the old rusted door shut behind us and threw the deadbolt. We backed away until we hit the far wall, and then we saw where we were. It was a room. No. A morgue tiled floor, steel tables, chains along the walls, rusted metal hooks bolted from the ceiling, and in the center, something that didn't belong in a morgue. A chair. Single heavy wooden chair with leather restraints at the arms and ankles. Beside it stood a rotting wooden podium with an open guest book. Olivia walked toward it like she was pulled by a string. Her voice was barely human now. Oh my God. Carved across the top of the book in jagged letters were the words, Guest Registry, Room 313. The pages inside were full of names, all the names from the tunnel walls. Each name had a room number, a date, and one more thing, a time of death, only one name at. The bottom had no date, just room number 313, no signature. Blank space, like it was waiting. A noise came from behind a metal door in the corner of the. Heard 3 slow bangs, then a voice, small, weak. Help, Zoe. I sprinted to the door and ripped it open. My flashlight cut through darkness. She was inside, shivering, her clothes soaked, her lips blue. Zoe. I wrapped my arms around her and pulled her out. She didn't hug me back, she just stared at me with hollow eyes. They put me in the water, she whispered. They held me down. Who did? Who? She looked up at me, and the way she looked made my blood go dead cold. They drowned me. Carter backed away slowly. No, she's talking crazy, but she wasn't crazy. Water trickled from her hair. Her shoes were gone. Her wrists were bruised where someone or something had held her down. Zoe pointed a trembling hand at the registry book. This place used to be a hospital. Before it was a hotel. Flood happened. Whole basement filled. Patients trapped. Nurses too. Water came in through the walls. They never made it out. Her voice was distant, like someone was talking through her. They didn't save them. They left them, locked the doors and pretended it never happened. Olivia backed against the wall. Stop, please stop. Zoe looked up, eyes full of black water. Rooms don't forget. Some rooms remember what happened inside them. This one remembers everything. A deep thud hit the morgue door. Once, twice, 3 times. The dead were here. The door began to shake as dozens of fists pounded against it. The metal frame rattled. Hinges groaned and warped. Help me move this table, I shouted to Carter. We shoved a steel table in front of the door. Another slam. The table slid a full foot back. They're going to get in, Olivia screamed. We have to go, I said. Where? Carter yelled back. There's no exit. Zoe pointed to another trapdoor in the far corner. They built this place to hide things. They built it to bury people. We pulled it open. A chasm of darkness waited below. No ladder, just black, better than dying in here. One choice jump. I went first, then Carter, then Olivia. Zoe climbed in last. We dropped into icy water, waist deep. It sucked the breath out of me. Something touched my leg, something that moved. We waded deeper. My phone light flickered. The beam hit something floating in the water. Bodies, dozens of bodies, rotting. Pale faces just beneath the surface, hair drifting like seaweed. Oh God, oh God. Carter's voice cracked. Zoe didn't react. She just walked forward, like she belonged here. We reached a chamber where the water was chest deep. The ceiling arched above us like a cathedral. It must have been part of the old hospital structure constructed long before the hotel. At the center of the room was a hole in the floor, black and spiraling downward. A drain, endless. Water pulled toward it slowly. A spiral death current. Zoe turned to face us, expression blank. This is where they go, she whispered. This is where it takes them. What is? I asked. She raised a single shaking hand and pointed behind me. I turned. He was standing there, the drowned man. The one who whispered in my ear. Only now I could see him, clearly. His skin wasn't skin at all, just stretched gray flesh that looked waterlogged and torn. His eyes were sunken sockets full of black water. His head jerked in broken angles. like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. And when he opened his mouth, water poured out. He spoke. Room 313 is never empty. He reached out a hand, not to me, to Zoe, and Zoe, she didn't run. She stepped toward I lunged and grabbed her wrist. No, she turned slowly. Her voice cracked like she was breaking apart. It already chose me. It doesn't get to choose. I yelled. Yes, she whispered. It does. The drowned man moved toward us. I grabbed Zoe. Carter, help me. Together we fought to pull her back, but she was strong. Much stronger than she should be. She looked at me with hollow eyes. This is how it ends, she said softly. One of us stays. One of us signs the book. I stared at her in horror. The registry. That blank space. Room 313 needed a name. Zoe wrenched herself free. I'm already gone. And before I could stop her, she stepped into the drain. The water pulled her in instantly, dragging her under. Her scream echoed across the chamber and died in seconds. Then for a moment there was nothing. Just silence. We ran, we clawed our way into the tunnel again. Back up the route we came, up the ladder, through the trapdoor, back into room 313. The lights flickered as we stumbled onto the carpet. Water dripped off us onto the floor. Everything smelled like rot. Carter fell back against the bed and screamed into his hands. Olivia slid down the wall, sobbing. I just stood there, staring at the closet. The door was wide open again. The trapdoor. We had to close it. I pulled the carpet back and froze. The trapdoor was gone, sealed. Over like it had never been there, like the room had healed itself, like it wanted to hide what lived beneath. Thought it's been hours now. The sun will be up soon. Carter refuses to speak. Olivia hasn't stopped shaking. We went downstairs to find help. No one was there. No guests. No staff. No Hank at the front desk. The lobby was covered in plastic sheets and dust, as if the place had been abandoned for years. But someone checked us. And someone gave us a room key. Someone wanted us here, Carter packed. He said he was driving home. He told us if we had any sense, we'd leave too. He opened the door to leave. I swear I tried to warn him, but I didn't see it in. Thomasy across the hall, a door was open. Room 313. Second one. Another room 313 across from ours waiting, dark inside, breathing. Carter stepped into the hallway and the door slammed shut. Olivia screamed. I ran to the hallway. He was gone. The room door wouldn't open. I dragged Olivia back inside. I locked us in. Now she's asleep, exhausted, probably broken. Me? I can't sleep because I finally understand. You don't check into room 313. Room 3113 checks into you. It follows you, finds you. It makes more of itself. Every door here leads back to it. Every hallway ends in it. Every guest list ends with a name that hasn't been written yet, and I know what it wants now. Someone has to stay. Someone has to sign. Someone has to drown in this room so it can live. Again, someone has to take Zoe's place. I don't know how to explain what happened at Lost Birch Lake without sounding insane, so I'm just going to tell it straight. No drama, no exaggeration, just the truth. Because people always go missing on spring break, right? But nobody ever talks about what really happens out in the woods. Those places beyond cell service, beyond rescue. There were 5 of us when we got there. Only 3 of us made it back. And some nights, when it gets quiet enough, I swear I can still hear her knocking. We were supposed to stay in cabin 4, this dusty old rental place off a dirt road in northern Wisconsin. No neighbors for miles, no police station, no working Wi-Fi, nothing. The kind of cheap private escape spring breakers pretend will be fun until the isolation starts to feel wrong. It was supposed to be chill, drinks, night swimming, and stupid dares by the campfire. No crowds, no loud beaches, no sunrise hangovers next to strangers. Just us, Miriam, my best friend since middle school, Jess, Ryan's girlfriend Erin, and my cousin Trevor, Jess's brother. But when we got to Lost Birch Lake, we realized something was off. There were 6 cabins along the lakeshore, all of them dark except one, the very last one at the end of the path. Cabin 6 a single warm yellow light glowed behind a curtain. Thought you said the whole place was empty, Ryan said. That's what the email said, I replied, unlocking our cabin. Jess shrugged. Probably just a caretaker. No, there was no caretaker. We found that out later. Too late. The first weird thing happened before midnight. We had been drinking by the fire pit out back. When Erin noticed someone watching us, she nudged me hard. Don't look obvious, but holy shit. I glanced up the dirt path. Standing just beyond the reach of the firelight was a girl. Thin, still, barefoot. Her hair hung wet down her shoulders like she had just climbed out of the lake. She didn't move, didn't wave, she just stood and stared. Jess shifted uncomfortably. Hi, can we help you? The girl didn't speak. Ryan whispered, Is that a kid? Where the hell did she come from? Maybe she's lost, Erin said, but no kid just shows up in the woods at midnight. I stood slowly. Hey, are you okay? Nothing. Then she turned, slowly, and walked back up the path toward cabin 6, bare feet. Wet footprints, no jacket, no flashlight, no phone, just darkness swallowing her whole. Okay, that was weird as hell, Trevor muttered, poking at the fire with a stick. Little Wednesday Addams out here creeping around in the woods. None of us laughed, because all of us, every single one, saw something about her that didn't seem right. Her eyes. Something was wrong with her eyes. Later that night, long after the fire died and everyone crashed, I woke up, not by noise, by silence. That horrifying feeling when you just know something woke you, but you don't know what. Yet I sat up in bed, the cabin felt too still. I reached for my phone on the nightstand. 1:17 a.m., no service, no messages. I took a breath to calm down and froze. Someone was breathing inside the cabin, not snoring, not sleep breathing, wet breathing, slow and heavy, uneven like someone trying not to be heard. I grabbed the flashlight in my bag and swept the room. Just me and Trevor. Both bunks were full. No one else. So where was that breathing coming from? The closet? I stood and moved quietly, shined the light inside, empty, but when I closed the door and turned back toward my bed, my blood froze in my chest. The front door was wide, open, just standing there, open like someone had walked. Inside, the night outside was pitch black. Wind carried the smell of the lake into the room. I swallowed slowly and grabbed the metal poker from the fireplace. I flicked the flashlight toward the doorway and whispered, Hello? The woods didn't answer, but something moved out there, something just outside the light. I stepped to the doorway and peered outside. Every survival instinct in my body begged me not to, but I did. Nothing, just black trees and dead silence. I shut the door, locked it, went back to bed, but I didn't sleep, because the whole time I lay there staring at the ceiling, I could still hear that breathing, closer now, from outside the bedroom door. At breakfast, I brought up what happened, tried to keep it casual so I didn't look paranoid. Did anyone get up last night? Blank looks. No, Ryan said. Why? Door was open, Jess frowned. Like open? Wide open, Trevor laughed. Probably you, dumbass. You went out to piss and forgot to close it. I didn't piss outside. Whatever, he shrugged. Wind probably blew it open. No, I said. I shut it before bed. It was locked. That got silent real fast. Ryan set his coffee down. Show me. We walked outside. The morning was cold, fog still hanging over the lake. The ground near the cabin was soft with mud from yesterday's rain. I pointed at the porch boards. Right here. Ryan looked. He swore under his breath because there, plain as day, were bare footprints right outside our door, small ones, a girl's. I don't know why I did it. Curiosity maybe, or just a need to prove I wasn't insane. But I started walking toward cabin 6. The others called after me but didn't follow. Cabin 6 sat apart from the others, half hidden behind a line of birch trees. Curtains drawn, no car outside. Just a single lonely cabin that looked like it hadn't been touched in years, except for that one light inside. Knocked, nothing. I knocked again. Harder, a flicker of movement. Inside, then the curtain shifted. Someone was standing there watching me from behind it. Hey, I called out. Someone came to our cabin last night. The curtain fell back into place, no voice, no reply. Then the door opened. Just a crack, and someone whispered from inside, Don't come back here again. I froze. The door shut, and that was it. Later that afternoon, we tried to forget about it. Chopped wood, went hiking, played cards, the usual dumb stuff, but Erin wouldn't let it go. She brought it up again over dinner. So what? You're just okay with that weird kid watching us all night? She wasn't dangerous, Jess said. She broke into our cabin, I reminded. What if she needs help? Aaron insisted. Trevor rolled his eyes. What if she's just crazy? Ryan pointed at the lake. Guys, please. Can we just relax for one fucking day before everyone spirals? He didn't get it. The weird part wasn't that a girl came to our cabin. The weird part was why she came and how she disappeared before I could catch her, before anyone else saw her before. Knock, knock, knock. We froze. The sound came from the front. Door 3 slow knocks. Trevor laughed nervously. Okay, that better be one of you messing around. Ryan stood, grabbed an axe from the rack. Stay here. He walked to the door and threw it open. No one. He stepped outside. Looked around. Walked onto the porch, then I saw it. A single wet footprint on the wooden step. Same size, same shape, same direction. That night we locked every window, shut every curtain, built a fire and kept it going. But around midnight, Erin vanished. 1 second she was sitting beside me near the fire. The next, gone. Erin? I called. No answer. Maybe she went inside, Jess said. I checked. She wasn't there. That's when Ryan spotted something down by the lake, a small white light, flickering between the trees. The hell is that? Trevor asked. I already knew. We followed it down the dirt path, past the birch trees, toward the shoreline. The moonlit lake sat black and silent before us. Mist hovered over the surface. Erin was standing in the water, ankle deep, staring straight ahead. Erin! I yelled. What are you doing? She didn't look at me, didn't move. I reached her and grabbed her shoulders. Erin! Her skin was freezing cold. Her eyes unfocused. She finally turned her head. Looked past me. She did it, she whispered. My breath caught. Who? Erin lifted an arm, slow, mechanical, and pointed across the lake. At cabin 6, every light inside was now on, and someone stood in the window, watching us. She just stood there in the freezing lake water staring at cabin 6 like she was hypnotized. Ryan and Trevor had to drag her back onto shore while I kept looking across the water, toward that glowing cabin window. Someone was standing there, watching us, silhouetted behind the glass, a girl, just like last night. Jess waved aggressively from the shore. Hey, what the hell do you want? No answer, no movement. The figure didn't flinch, didn't lean, didn't even blink, just stared. I swear to God, Ryan growled. If this is some backwoods deliverance shit, we should call someone, Jess said. A ranger, police, anybody. No service, I reminded her. Then we drive to town, she said, grabbing her jacket. Closest town is over an hour, Ryan said. It's pitch black. Roads are ice. We don't know these woods. Erin twitched suddenly. Like something shocked through her, then she whispered, voice hollow. She went into the water. Jess froze. Who? Erin blinked twice, slow, like she was waking from a trance. Then she whispered again, same dead tone. I tried to stop her. I grabbed her shoulders. Stop who, Erin? She turned to me finally, and the way she looked at me made me feel something I hadn't yet, real fear. The girl. The one in cabin 6, we got Erin inside, wrapped her in blankets, sat her by the fire. She didn't talk for a long time, but she wasn't unconscious, just gone behind the eyes. I needed answers. What do you mean you tried to stop her? Erin stared into the flames. She was screaming, my skin crawled. When? Before, she said. Before she disappeared. Before the lake took her. Jess shook her head. Erin, what are you talking about? What girl? She was alive when I saw her, Erin murmured. But no one came for her. They just let her go. She lifted her eyes to mine. She's not alive anymore. What did she want from you? I asked. Erin blinked. She wanted me to help her, Trevor scoffed. Help her do what, drown? Erin didn't react. That made it worse. She asked me to let her in, Erin whispered. My blood went cold. Jess swallowed. Let her in. Where? Erin slowly turned and looked at the front door. We didn't sleep that night. Around 3 a.m., the footsteps returned, just like last night. Slow, deliberate steps pacing outside the front porch. No flashlight. No talking. No attempt to hide. Whoever or whatever it was wanted us to know they were there. The steps passed in front of every window. Back and forth, wood creaking louder each time. Jess was crying silently. Trevor had a fire poker clenched in both hands. Ryan whispered. "We can't stay here." "I know," I said. "But where were we supposed to go?" Footsteps stopped. Silence. A breeze hissed through the chimney. Then, 3 slow knocks. Knock. Knock. Knock on the back door this time. Jess shook her head. "Do not open that. We're not," I said. Then more footsteps, moving along the side of the cabin. Now deliberate, dragging, wet, whatever, was out there. It wasn't trying to get in. It was looking for something or someone. Erin spoke without turning. "She's trying to find a way in." Ryan clenched his fists. "Who, Erin?" She didn't answer. Then something slid under the front door. A white strip of paper. I stared at it like I was staring at a live wire. I knelt slowly. Picked it up. The others gathered behind me. It was a faded missing person flyer. Girl, mid-teens, wet brown hair, cold gray eyes, the one from the woods, name Lily Hargrove. Missing since March 14th, 2006. Last seen, Lost Birch Lake, 16 years ago. None of us spoke for a long time. Jess finally broke the silence. "This isn't a prank." "No shit," Trevor said shakily. I stood. I felt sick. "Someone is messing with us." Ryan shook his head. "No, this is something else." The wind blew. Then, something else blew in with it. A voice, a whisper, from outside, right behind the wall. Soft, female, humming. A tune too slow to be a song, but too intentional to be nothing. Jess slapped her hands over her ears. "I don't like this. I don't fucking like this." Erin stood. Walked to the door like she was sleepwalking. I grabbed her wrist. "What are you doing?" Her voice sounded far away. "She won't stop. Not until she's inside. It hurts." "What hurts?" Her voice. "What is she saying?" Erin's eyes were glassy when she whispered, "She wants us to come to cabin 6. By morning it was decided. We were ending this. "No more sitting and waiting," Ryan said. "We go there today." "What if it's a trap?" Jess asked. "It already is," Ryan said. She didn't argue. We armed ourselves. Axe, knife, metal poker, flashlight. Packed bags in case we had to leave fast. The whole time it felt wrong. Like every step we took closer to cabin 6 was a step into someplace we weren't allowed to go. Like something was waiting, watching. We moved as a group, down the dirt path. Past cabin 5, then cabin 6 came into full view. Daylight made it worse because now we could see it was falling apart. Windows cracked, paint peeling, roof sagging, cobwebs in the corners of the porch. Like no one had lived there for years, but the light inside was still on. Ryan reached the door and tried the handle. Unlocked. The door creaked open. Cabin 6 smelled like lake water and rot. Everything inside was soaked, carpet squished under every step. The floor warped like the wood had been submerged recently. Furniture was tipped over. Curtains shredded. Gray lake slime coated the walls. "Jesus Christ," Trevor muttered. I walked further in and stopped at the far wall, carved into the wood, deep and desperate, over and over again. "Let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in," hundreds of times. Fingernail marks dug deep around each word. "Guys," I called. "You need to see this." Ryan turned and I saw his shoulders stiffen. Jess whispered, Oh my God, that's blood." Because it wasn't just scratches on the wall, it was stained. Dried reddish-brown streaks trailing down. Someone carved those words until their fingers bled and kept going. Erin was staring, locked, frozen, looking up the staircase to the second floor. Followed her gaze. There was a small upstairs landing, a single window at the top cracked open. A tattered pale curtain drifted in the cold air, the same window we had seen the girl standing in last night. Ryan broke the silence. "We clear this floor, then we go upstairs together." We moved room by room. Kitchen, destroyed, flooded. Bathroom, mirror shattered, tub full of black water. Bedroom, mattress slashed open. Then, tap. We froze. That came from upstairs. Trevor whispered, "Tell me nobody else heard that." We all heard it, a soft, slow tapping like fingernails on glass. Tap, tap, tap. From the upstairs window, Erin moved first, then Ryan, then me. We climbed. Each step creaked. Our breathing sounded too loud. Halfway up, everything got colder. Not draft cold, dead cold. Air like a tomb. The landing came into view. The window sat cracked open. The tapping stopped. I raised my flashlight, and that's when we saw them. Water droplets all over the floor and bare footprints leading down the hallway into the last room at the end. The footprints stopped at a closed door. Something scratched from the other side, slow, rhythmic, like someone dragging a nail down the wood. Over and over. Skrrch, skrrch, skrrch. Jesus Christ, Jess whispered. Ryan reached for the knob. Aaron grabbed his arm. Don't. We're finishing this, Ryan said. Once we open this door, she comes out or we go in. Either way it ends. Aaron shook her head. You don't understand. Then explain it, I said. Aaron looked at the door with dread. She doesn't want to leave. She wants someone else to stay. Ryan didn't hesitate. He turned the knob and threw the door open. The smell hit us first. Lake rot and mold. The room was empty except for one thing, a small metal bed frame on it. A drowned girl, skin gray-blue. Hair dripping, clothes torn, limbs twisted like she'd been pulling against something for too long. Eyes wide open, glassy and empty, but staring directly at us, Jess screamed. Trevor stumbled backward. Ryan dropped the axe. I didn't move. Because I couldn't, because I finally understood. This wasn't a haunting. It was an imitation, a message. Someone wasn't just showing us a dead girl, they were showing us what they did to her. Her hand twitched, water dripped from her fingers, and her head began to turn. Not naturally. Not like bone and muscle were moving, but like something behind her was pushing, turning her face toward us. Slow, jerky, wrong. Her jaw unhinged with a wet crack, and in a voice that wasn't hers, a voice thick with water and hate. I didn't sleep that night. After what we saw in cabin 6, the bed that looked like someone had been sleeping there, the girl's sweater hanging on a hook, the scribbled messages in the notebook begging for help, we all went back to our own cabin in complete silence. Nobody said it out loud, but I knew we were all thinking the same thing. That girl was real. She had been staying here. Something happened to her. But what was worse, something was still happening. Eli locked all the doors and windows twice before sitting down. He didn't speak. He just stared at the floor. Jess kept chewing her thumbnail until it bled. Mia wouldn't let anyone touch her. She stayed in a corner of the couch with a blanket over her shoulders like she was trying to disappear inside it. And me? I sat there listening, waiting. Every creak outside made my skin pull tight. I felt like the night was watching us. We should have packed up and left, but we didn't. I don't even know why. Fear does that. It freezes something inside you, makes decisions feel heavy. I watched the clock crawl toward dawn. At 4:12 a.m., my phone buzzed. I jumped. It was a text from an unknown number. Are you still there? My heart literally clenched. I stared at the message until my eyes unfroze. Jess leaned over. Who's that? I didn't answer. I typed, who is this? 3 dots appeared. A reply came instantly. Cabin 6, I couldn't breathe. That shouldn't be possible. No one was using that cabin, but someone was texting us from inside it. Before I could react, another message came. Don't leave me here. Oh my God, Jess whispered. Mia flinched like she'd been slapped. No, this is wrong. Delete it. Block it. Eli walked over slowly and took the phone from my hand. He stared at the message for a full 5 seconds. Then he calmly placed my phone face down on the table. We're being messed with, he said. That's all. Somebody saw us go inside cabin 6. Someone knows we're freaked out and they're screwing with us. We're not doing this. But, I stammered. No. His voice was sharp. He picked up my phone, walked to the front door, opened it, and chucked it into the darkness. Hey, I yelled. We're done. No more ghost hunters. No more missing girl. We sleep, we leave in the morning. End of story. He shut the door and locked it again. I stared at him. Jess looked stunned. Mia looked small. Something felt wrong. Really wrong. Reality was bending and Eli was acting like turning off a light would make the dark go away. I wanted to argue, but I didn't. Not because I agreed, but because I had nothing left. I was exhausted, scared, and honestly, part of me wanted him to be right. We all tried to sleep after that. Tried. But sleep never really came. AMI must have drifted off for maybe 10 minutes because when I opened my eyes, light was seeping through the curtains. Jess was still curled up on the couch. Mia was asleep sitting up, chin against her chest. But Eli was gone. I sat up fast. Eli. I called. No answer. I checked the locked door. Still locked from inside. Checked the restroom. Empty. My pulse started punching the inside of my neck. I looked outside through the window. There were footprints, heading straight toward cabin 6. Oh, hell no. I ran and shook Jess awake. She snapped up, confused. Mia stirred. Eli's gone, I said breathlessly. His boots are gone. The footprints, he went to cabin 6. Jess paled. Why would he go back there? He said we were done, Mia whispered in a daze. He wouldn't. He did, I said. And something's wrong. We have to go get him. Jess grabbed her jacket. Mia didn't move. Mia, I said. Let's go. She just shook her head and whispered, I don't want to see her. A chill slid across my shoulders. I didn't ask who she meant. Jess and I stepped outside. The air smelled sharp, cold pine and damp earth. I followed the trail. Our boots sank slightly in the morning frost. Cabin 6 sat dark and silent. Something inside me resisted walking closer. My body felt like it was pulling backward while I pushed forward. I grabbed the doorknob and hesitated. Jess squeezed my arm. Do it. I opened the door. Cabin 6 looked exactly as we'd left it. Same messy bed, same notebook. Same faint smell of lake water and mildew. But something new was there. A rope. Hanging from the attic hatch in the ceiling. Lowered. Like someone wanted us to climb up. I whispered. That rope wasn't there before. Jess swallowed. Eli, are you here? Silence. She looked at me. Where does it go? She asked breathlessly. I shined my phone light toward the ceiling. The attic hatch was slightly cracked open. Darkness spilled out. Jess looked terrified. Tell me we're not going up there. I stared at the hanging rope. It wasn't old. It looked brand new, thick, clean, placed there waiting. Stay here, I told her. No way, and stay here. If I scream, run and get Mia. Call for help. Call who? We have no signal. Just listen, I said, and grabbed the rope. I climbed. Every muscle in my body felt tight as I pulled myself up inside the attic. It smelled like rotten wet wood. My light caught dust floating in still air. The floorboards creaked under me. Eli? I whispered. No answer. I crawled forward. That's when I saw the drawings. Symbols. Burned into the wooden beams. Circles inside circles. Lines intersecting. Scratch marks, more rope. Pieces of broken glass. Old photographs pinned to the walls with nails. The photos were of girls. Different girls. All around our age. All standing in front of cabin 6. I stared at them. Horrified. Suddenly I heard something behind me. Sound like breathing. Slow. Wet. Human. I turned. There was someone else in the attic, sitting perfectly still in the corner, staring at me. I froze, unable to breathe. My phone light trembled in my hand as I raised it slowly. The face came into view. Long, wet hair clung to her cheeks. Skin pale and wrong, eyes wide and black with terror. Lips blue, she tilted her head, her voice was cracked, barely a whisper. Don't let him take you. My blood turned to ice. Who are you? I managed to choke out. Her eyes flicked toward the open attic hatch. He's here. I turned just as something yanked my foot and dragged me toward the opening. I slammed hard against the edge, phone flying out of my hand and falling below. Pain shot up my leg as something cold and vicious dug into my ankle and pulled again. Help! I screamed. Jess yelled from below. I'm coming! I clawed at the wood, splinters stabbing into my hands. My body was halfway out the hatch now, dangling over the floor below. I looked down and saw Jess rushing under me. Then I looked up, into the attic, and saw who was pulling me. It wasn't Eli. It was a man. Gray skin stretched over bone, like he hadn't eaten in weeks. His face was cracked like porcelain. His mouth was too big. His fingers were wrong, too long, and his eyes dead but hungry. He opened his mouth, and a voice that sounded like it was scraped out of hell poured out. You shouldn't be here. Jess grabbed my arms and pulled. I felt my shoulder nearly tear out of its socket. The thing snarled and yanked harder from above. The rope swayed. My hand slipped in panic as pain screamed through me. "Let go of her," Jess screamed. The attic girl crawled forward fast, her movements jagged, broken. She grabbed the man's arm and bit him, hard. He shrieked in a horrible, inhuman way and let go. I fell, crashing onto the floor of cabin 6 with Jess. My lungs emptied. Jess dragged me back, slamming the attic hatch shut. She yanked the rope down and tied it around a beam so it couldn't be opened again. We stumbled outside, slamming the cabin door behind us. I was shaking uncontrollably. Mia came running toward us. "Where is he? Where's Eli?" I looked up at her, and that's when I saw something that made my heart collapse. Inside me, there were new footprints outside, now a second set, leading away from cabin 6, back toward the lake. We followed the prints through the trees, weaving between pine roots and cold mud. Branches whipped our faces. The deeper we went, the quieter the world became. No birds, no wind. No life, just the distant lap of water. Eli's boot prints were deeper, fresh, but the second set bare. Feet smaller, lighter, like a girl's. The trees broke open into a clearing by the lake, and there, standing at the end of the old wooden dock, was Eli. He was staring into the water, motionless. "Eli!" I shouted, running toward him. He didn't move. He didn't turn. Jess and Mia followed close behind me, both out of breath. "Eli," I said again, closer now. "What are you doing?" "We need to go. There's something evil here." He spoke without turning. "Do you see her?" I stopped. His voice sounded wrong, slow and empty. "What?" He pointed down at the water. "She's right there. She's so cold." I moved beside him and looked down. The water rippled gently, reflecting the gray morning sky. At first I didn't see anything, but then, just beneath the surface, a pale, dead face floated up, eyes wide open, staring at us. I stumbled back. Jess gasped. Mia screamed, but Eli just watched. Peacefully. "She wants us to stay," he whispered. "She said she can show us." I grabbed his arm. "Eli, listen to me. We have to..." He turned his head slowly and looked at me. His eyes weren't his anymore. Something else was looking through them. "She chose me," he said. Then he smiled and stepped off the dock, straight into the water. Eli slipped beneath the surface before I could move. 1 second he was there, his eyes eerily calm, face breaking the reflection of gray sky over dark water, and the next he was gone, swallowed by the lake like something pulled him from below. I dove in after him. The water was shockingly cold, paralyzing. It felt like knives against my skin. I kicked downward, eyes stinging, lungs tightening as I forced myself deeper. Visibility was terrible. Dark green water churned around me. I reached, grasped, clawed. But Eli was nowhere. Something brushed past my leg. I spun underwater, panic blasting my chest. Through the murk I saw hair, long black hair drifting beneath me, swaying like weeds in the current. Then a face rose, pale, dead, eyes open. The girl, she hovered below me, her arms floating outward like she was waiting, inviting. I kicked backward in terror, kicking to the surface, erupting into air with a gasp that tore my throat raw. I swam frantically toward the dock. "Did you see him?" Jess screamed from above. I could barely get the words out. He's under... Something pulled him." Mia was shaking, screaming Eli's name over and over again. I grabbed the edge of the dock and pulled myself onto the wood, coughing and shaking violently from the cold. We need help," Jess said, voice broken. "We need to call someone. We don't have signal," Mia cried. "No one is coming." "There's another way," I gasped. Jess stared at me. "What?" I looked at the lake. At the cabin beyond. At the tree line. I could still feel that attic girl's eyes staring through me. "This isn't random," I said. "This girl, they took her. Someone did this. That thing in the attic, that thing pulling Eli, it wants us here. We're part of something." "What are you talking about?" Jess snapped. "We need to find Eli." "We will," I said, "but not in the lake. We're not going to find him unless we know what we're dealing with. There are answers in that cabin, and I think I know where." Mia wiped her shaking hands over her face. No, I'm not going back in there," I swallowed. My hands were ice. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. "We don't have a choice," I said. We moved as a group silently. The woods felt wrong, watchful, heavy. Every branch creaked like a whisper. Every shadow looked like something waiting to move. Cabin 6 was exactly as we left it. Rope tied to the beam, attic hatch sealed. But the feeling inside had changed. The air was colder, heavier, like the walls were holding their breath. Jess squeezed my arm. "What are we looking for?" "Anything," I said. "Something that tells us who lived here." "What happened?" "We searched everything. Under the bed, just rotting boards. In the kitchen drawers, rusted knives. Old spoons, nothing else. Mia found old receipts in a cabinet, groceries, cleaning supplies dated 2 years ago." "Wait," Jess said suddenly. She knelt beside the wall and touched it. A crack, thin, vertical, hidden behind a coat hook. She pulled. The wooden panel shifted. It wasn't a wall, it was a door, a hidden door. My heart cracked open with dread. Jess looked at me. "You ready?" "No," I said. "Open it." She did. Inside was a narrow passageway. Wooden stairs led down, beneath the cabin. Jess lifted her flashlight. A cold wind drifted up from below, carrying a smell that made my stomach twist. Dirt, mold, and something else. Metal. Blood. "No," Mia said, stepping back. "No, I'm not going in there." I turned to her. "Mia, listen to me. Eli is down there, I know it. And I am not leaving him. If you want to go back to the cabin alone, fine. Go. But I'm finding him." Mia froze, her jaw shook. Tears slid down her face. Then, she nodded. We descended. The stairs creaked beneath our weight. The air grew colder. My breath fogged in the beam of Jess's flashlight. At the bottom was a dirt floor. Wooden beams. Rope tied to nails in the wall. Crates lined one side of the room. A smell of rust and decay soaked the air. And then we saw them. Walls covered in photos. Dozens, maybe hundreds of missing posters. Girls our age? News clippings. Handwritten notes. Red string connecting pictures like some insane murder map. Girls missing near lake authorities search off grid property local man questioned. No arrests made. Underneath, a newspaper clipping taped in the center. Harris Lake family found dead, case still unsolved, Jess whispered. Harris. Like Harris Lake Resort? I stepped closer. The article described a couple, Jeffrey and Mara Harris and their daughter Lila. They vanished from their lakeside home 5 years ago. No bodies ever found. I scanned another clipping beneath it. Cabin 6 belonged to the Harris family. My blood froze. This was their cabin, I whispered. Mia's voice shook. Then who was the girl we saw upstairs? I didn't want to say it, but I did. Lila. That was her. Jess paced, eyes wide. But she's dead, right? Like dead? Not just dead, I said. She's still here. Something kept her. I lifted a stack of old papers from a table. Underneath was a leather notebook. I opened it. At first it looked blank, but then faint writing appeared. Finger pressure indentations left behind. I rubbed pencil lead across the page. Words surfaced. He found me. He won't let me go. Cabin 6 is a trap. Don't come here, run. Then another. He lives in the water. He feeds on fear. He takes what he wants. Jess backed away. Who the hell is he? Another message brought bile to my throat. If you hear him, don't answer. If you see him, don't run. If he offers a choice, don't take it. I turned the page and found something. Worse, a list of names, crossed out one by one. Missing. Girls. And at the bottom, my name, Lucy. My hands trembled so hard the notebook fell. No, what is this? Jess stared. Your name is on there. How is your name on there? Mia backed into a wall. We need to leave. Right now. We need to, but she didn't finish. A scraping noise made us all freeze. Footsteps. Someone else was down here. Deep. In the dark hallway beyond the string. Bored slow, heavy, getting closer, I picked up a rusted hatchet from the table. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold it. Jess raised her light toward the hallway. Hello? She whispered. The footsteps stopped. Then, a voice spoke. Not human, not alive. One of you stays. The flashlight flickered. One of you must take her place. Mia let out a broken cry. Jess grabbed her hand. I stepped forward. Where's Eli? The voice exhaled like wind through a grave. Below. My heart stopped. The hallway behind us split. One path we came from, another descending deeper underground. I knew where Eli was. I knew where this was going. I turned to Jess. Take Mia. Go. Get out. Now. Jess stepped toward me. No, we're not splitting up. You have to, I said. I'm ending this. Her eyes filled with fear, but she knew. She pulled me into a hug. Don't you dare die. I forced a smile I didn't feel. Wasn't planning to. She grabbed Mia and pulled her toward the stairs. Mia cried as she moved, reaching for me. I took one last breath and went alone into the dark after Eli. I knew something was wrong the second the cruise ship came out of the fog. We were about 20 miles off the coast of Key West, drifting in open water on a rented fishing boat that smelled like gasoline and dead tuna. Spring break trip. Me, my cousin Leo, his girlfriend Tara, and our friend Marcus. The plan was simple: drink cheap rum, fish a little, and camp on a sandbar overnight. That plan died the moment we saw the ocean crown. It emerged from the thick morning fog silently. No engine, no radio signal, no sound at all. A 900-foot cruise ship drifting alone with no lights, no crew, no movement. It towered over us like a floating skyscraper, its hull streaked with rust and salt rot. What the hell? Leo muttered, cutting the engine. Marcus stood, beer in hand, staring up at it. Holy shit, that's a full-size cruise liner. Why isn't there anybody on deck? Tara pulled out her phone to record. Is this like a ghost ship? For real? I didn't say anything. I just watched it glide past, silent as a coffin. No flag, no name. Just a faded crown painted on the stern. That's when I saw it. A shape. Way up on deck 12. A railing. A figure, small, unmoving, watching us. I blinked. It was gone. Did you see that? I said, see what? Marcus asked. There was someone up there. Bullshit. No, I swear, I saw someone. Leo cut the boat around. We should check it out. Check it out? Tara grabbed his arm. We should call the Coast Guard. Leo shrugged. About what? A boat floating in the ocean? That's not illegal. No, I said slowly. But climbing aboard probably is. He grinned. Only if we get caught. Typical Leo, big personality, zero breaks. When we were kids, he used to jump off rooftops into hotel pools because he thought it made him look fearless. It didn't, it just made him reckless. Marcus was already on his feet. Bro, imagine the TikTok views. Hashtag real life ghost ship, boom, viral. I felt something twist in my gut. A warning. A quiet voice inside me that whispered, don't go near that ship. But none of us listened. Leo pulled the boat alongside the massive hull. Up close, the ocean crown looked even worse. The paint peeled in long strips. Windows were cracked. Strings of dead lights hung from broken railings. A rope ladder still dangled from one side. Weather-beaten but secure, like someone had used it recently. The fog thickened around us. The water felt too still. I don't like this, I said. Leo was already grabbing the ladder. Come on, we'll just look around for a minute. If it's empty, we head out. And if it's not empty? Tara asked. Leo smirked. Then we ask them what they're doing on our ship. Marcus laughed and followed him up the ladder. Tara swore under her breath and climbed after them. I hesitated. One last second, one last quiet chance to leave. But I didn't want to be alone on the boat. So I followed too. We climbed over the railing onto deck 3. The metal groaned under our weight. The air smelled like stagnant seawater and rust. A cold wind swept past us, carrying something else, something faint. Almost like, Marcus whistled. Whole place looks abandoned. Yeah, Tara said softly. But not for long. Like someone just walked away. She was right. Deck chairs still sat in rows. Glass cups rested on tables. A towel was draped over a deck chair like someone had just stepped away to jump in the pool, except the pool was drained and cracked open like a crater, filled with leaves and dead seagulls. We moved into the main interior, passing through shattered sliding doors into a massive atrium. The ceiling soared 5 stories up, wrapped in glass, now cracked and fogged with grime. The grand piano on the stage looked like it had been smashed with an axe. Tables were overturned. A velvet rope barrier lay on the floor, frayed at one end like it had been torn apart. This place went to hell, Marcus said. No, I said quietly. This was something else. The silence was wrong. It wasn't the silence of an empty place. It was the silence of a place that didn't want to be heard. Every step we took seemed swallowed, dampened by some heavy unseen weight. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was listening. We reached the main lobby where a cruise info desk stood behind glass. Maps and brochures were scattered everywhere. Tara lifted one. "Last departure was from Miami," she said, "but there's no date. There's nothing printed on this." Leo found a passenger manifest binder and opened it. Pages torn. Whole sections ripped out. Marcus filmed everything. "People will think this shit is staged. There's no way this is real." A low metallic groan rumbled somewhere deep inside the ship. We all froze. "What was that?" Tara asked, her voice shaking. Leo pointed. "Sounded like it came from below." "Engine room?" Marcus suggested. I shook my head. "That wasn't machinery. That sounded like metal bending." "Yeah," Tara said. "Like something big moved," Leo grinned. "Good, means we're not alone. I wanted to hit him." We explored the promenade hallway next. More debris, more signs of sudden abandonment. A rolling suitcase lay on its side, clothes spilled across the floor. Half-eaten food sat on a room service tray now covered in mold. We passed a gift shop. Shelves collapsed. Souvenir mugs smashed. Postcards scattered in puddles of seawater from a broken ceiling pipe. That's when Tara stopped walking and grabbed my arm. "Hey," she whispered. "Do you hear that?" I listened. There was a sound behind us. Very faint, like footsteps. Slow, dragging. We turned around. The hallway behind us was long and empty. No one there. "I heard it," Marcus said quietly. "So did I," Leo said. We kept moving, up ahead. We reached a casino. The doors hung lopsided on their hinges. Inside, everything looked frozen in time. Poker chips were still stacked on tables. Slot machines stood silent in neat rows. A champagne glass lay broken on the floor. And then we saw the blood. A thin, dark smear across the carpet. Leading between the blackjack tables. Toward a closed security door, is that? Tara started. "Yeah," I said. "It is." Leo stepped toward it. "Don't," I said quickly. "Just don't." He stopped and looked at me. For a second I thought he might argue, but instead he walked around the table and pointed his light down the blood trail. "It goes under that door." "Which means we're not opening it," I said. Marcus cleared his throat. "Maybe we should head back. Just for now. Make a plan," Leo frowned. "Seriously? What do you think this is? A haunted house?" "No," I said. "I think it's a crime scene." Tara tugged his sleeve. "Leo, something bad happened here." He didn't listen. He never did. He went to the security door and tried the handle. Locked. Marcus exhaled. "Thank God." Leo picked up a broken chair leg and started prying the door. "Leo, stop," Tara shouted. He didn't. The door snapped open with a jarring metallic crack that echoed down the hall. Silence followed, long dead. Then, slam, something hit the door from the other side. We all jumped. Then it hit again. Harder. The door began to flex inward, metal groaning, dust shaking loose. Something big was behind it and trying to get out. BOOM. The hinges screamed. Tara screamed too. Leo stepped back fast. "What the Run!" I yelled, and that's when we heard it. From inside the security room, a voice, low, broken, wet. "Don't let it out." I don't know why we kept going deeper into the ship. Maybe it was because going back meant walking past that ballroom again. Past that mirrored wall. Past that thing that watched me through my own reflection. Maybe we were convincing ourselves we were still just exploring. Curiosity over fear. Dumb adventure over common sense, but really, I think we were already trapped and we just hadn't realized it yet. The hallway we found ourselves in now was different. Narrower. Utility-like. The fancy carpets and gold trim were gone, replaced by metal grates and exposed pipes. It smelled like machine oil and wet concrete. "Where even are we?" Tyler muttered. "Below passenger decks," Kaylee said. "Crew area, maybe?" "Engine level?" Nate guessed. I didn't say anything. I just kept watching the shadows, listening for anything moving behind us. We passed a row of metal storage doors with faded labels. Linen closet B9, provisions, security, maintenance access. Then one sign made all of us pause. Infirmary. "Oh hell no," Tyler said. "I'm not going in there," but something about it pulled me. Not curiosity, not fear. Something else, like a sense of inevitable gravity, like we were being steered there. The ship was controlling the tour now, and it wanted us to see the infirmary. The infirmary was lit by emergency lights casting a sickly yellow glow. Beds were still made. Cabinets full of IV bags and medication remained behind shattered glass. A few overturned carts were scattered on the floor like something had rushed through, but no people. "There should be bodies," Kaylee whispered. "Dude," Tyler warned. "No, think about it," she said, pacing. "Abandoned cruise ship mid-voyage. Decomposition aside, there should be something left behind. Bones, uniforms, signs of a mayday. But there's nothing. Nothing at all." "Maybe they evacuated," Nate said. "Then where are the emergency rafts? The distress flare pods? Why didn't we see—" "Shh!" I hissed. We froze. We heard footsteps, not ours, slow. Heavy. Inside the infirmary, coming from behind the curtain at the far end of the room. Nate whispered, "Someone's there." Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The footsteps stopped behind the curtain. Silence. Nate looked at me. I shook my head slowly, mouthing, "Don't." He didn't listen. "Nate," I whispered sharply. He reached forward and then pulled back the curtain. The bed behind it was empty. We all exhaled. Then, we looked down. A wet trail of prints led, under the bed and out of sight. Bare human. "Feet fresh, oh my God," Kaylee whispered. Suddenly every hair on my body rose. Someone was still here. Someone had just been walking. And they were close. "Too close, we need to get out of here," I said. "Wait," Nate said. "If someone's hurt, we're leaving," I snapped. We backed toward the door. Then something made me glance back one last time. And I saw it. A small, child-sized hand, pale and wet, slowly slid back under the bed. We didn't speak for a while after that. We moved fast now. We didn't need to discuss leaving anymore. We were already trying to. But that wasn't easy anymore. Every stairwell was blocked by twisted metal or sealed emergency doors. Every hallway seemed to loop back on itself. It was like the ship had changed while we were inside it. At first, we blamed our panic. Maybe we had miscounted floors. Maybe anxiety was messing with our perception. But eventually we had to admit this wasn't natural. The layout had changed, seamlessly, quietly, like the ship had rearranged itself. "We're being funneled," Kaylee said. "Fucking what?" Tyler snapped. "This isn't random," she said. "It's like it wants us to go somewhere." "Ships don't want things," Nate muttered. "This one does," I said quietly. We reached a long hallway lined with metal doors. Each one had a number stamped above it. "Cabin 201, cabin 202, Tyler read. "Passenger rooms?" "No," Kaylee said, stepping closer. "These aren't passenger rooms," I looked. She was right. The rooms didn't have carpets or TVs or windows. They had metal walls and drains in the floor. "What the hell?" Nate whispered. "Are these holding rooms?" A chill cut through me. These weren't passenger rooms, they were containment rooms. We kept going until we reached the one door that wasn't closed. Cabin 213. Its door stood wide open. Inside was darkness, deep and oppressive. I felt a pressure in my ears just looking at it. Nate shined his flashlight inside. "Nope," Tyler said immediately. There were scratch marks on the inside walls. Dozens, hundreds, desperate ones, deep ones. Long clawing gashes from someone's fingers, bleeding and breaking and clawing anyway. A message was carved into the wall near the floor. The letters were shaky, carved with madness or terror, or both. "Don't sleep," Kaylee swallowed hard. Whatever was in here, it wasn't human anymore. "It was scared," I said. "Of what?" Nate asked, and then from deep inside the room something moved. Not a big movement, just a small shift in the dark, a wet shuffle. Something was in there watching us. I took a slow step backward. My voice came out in a dead whisper. "Run, we didn't wait." We ran. Full sprint down the corridor, past the other sealed doors, past the warning signs scratched into metal. "Let me out," they never left. "Don't look in the mirrors." We turned a corner and finally found a stairwell that wasn't sealed. We flew upward, taking the stairs 2 and 3 at a time. Metal stairs. Echoing footsteps. All of us gasping for breath. Then, a scream. Kaylee's scream. I spun around just in time to see her foot slip on a wet step. She crashed down on her side and slid, slamming against the railing. "Kaylee!" I yelled. We rushed to her. "I'm okay." She winced, but she wasn't. Blood was running down her jeans, a deep gash on her shin, And something else. What the hell is that? Tyler said. He pointed to the step she fell on. There was something smeared on it, thick, dark, sticky, not oil, not grease, blood, wet. Blood, fresh blood, and above it, on the wall, someone had dragged a handprint, a black red, streaked down the metal, dragging downward like someone had been pulled. Nate looked at me. Panic was written all over his face now. We can't stay here, she needs help. And go where? Tyler snapped. The medical deck? You saw that place. We need a safe room, Nate said. Just somewhere to stop the bleeding, get her off her leg. Kaylee shook her head. Don't stop. We don't stop. Her eyes were wide, empty, like something had hollowed them. What? I asked. She swallowed. Something followed us from that room, she said. It's behind us, we turned. The stairwell entrance below us was now pitch black. Something was moving inside it, slow, wet, crawling up the stairs. Oh my God, Tyler whispered. Higher, Nate shouted. Go, go. We climbed until my chest burned and my lungs felt like they were tearing apart. Kaylee limped between us, losing blood fast. At last we reached a landing. I shouldered the nearest door open and we stumbled out into silence. A wide, luxurious hallway, carpeted floors, chandeliers above, polished wood paneling. We were back on the upper passenger deck, only this time, something was wrong. Every door along the hallway was open and every room beyond them was in perfect condition. Made beds, clean towels, mint chocolates on pillows like... The ship was waiting for us like it was preparing. For us, I felt sick. Nate lowered Kaylee onto a chair in the hallway. I went for the closest bathroom to get towels or anything we could use as bandages. I flicked on the light, and I froze. The mirror above the sink and was gone, ripped. Clean off the wall. Only metal brackets and 4 holes in the wall remained. Suddenly I heard Nate yell, "Hurry!" I grabbed a stack of towels and ran out. What is it? I gasped. He pointed down the hall. Something stood there. A man. Only wrong. His body was rigid and unnatural. His clothes were soaked. His head jerked in odd, twitching movements like he wasn't used to holding it up. His skin was blue-gray and waterlogged. He stared at us, or through us, or past us, I don't know. He opened his mouth. Water poured out. Nate lifted a chair like a weapon. Stay back. The thing took one step forward, then another. Then it moved fast, too fast. We sprinted down the hallway, dragging Kaylee with us. Doors slammed shut behind us one by one like the ship was chasing us in sync with the thing. Slam, 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 slam. The hallway narrowed. Time broke apart. I couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. We burst through double doors and collapsed inside a massive room with velvet seats and a polished stage. A theater. I slammed the doors shut and shoved a broken podium against them. For a minute, none of us spoke. None of us moved. We just sat there in the aisle, drowning in silence and panic and flickering emergency light. Finally, Tyler whispered, This is a ghost ship." "No," Nate said. "This isn't ghosts. Ghosts don't bleed. That thing downstairs, there was something crawling under that bed. This isn't paranormal," Kaylee said weakly. "This is worse," I turned to her. "What do you mean worse?" She was shaking now, eyes locked on nothing. "I know this ship," she said. Kaylee's words echoed inside the theater like a crack spreading in glass. "I know this ship." The room went dead silent. Nate stared at her. "What do you mean you know this ship?" Kaylee didn't look at him. She stared at the empty stage ahead like something was walking slowly toward her that only she could see. "Kaylee," I said quietly, "what are you saying?" Her voice came out hollow. This isn't a random cruise ship. I've seen it before. I read about it 3 years ago. It disappeared during a spring break run between Florida and Mexico. Over 2,000 people on board. No survivors. Never found." Tyler swallowed. "So what, this is some cursed Titanic shit?" Kaylee shook her head slowly. "No," she whispered. "Worse, because this ship didn't sink. I felt cold." "What happened to it then?" Kaylee's voice cracked as she said it. "They jumped." Nate frowned. "Who jumped?" "All of them." The room felt smaller suddenly. The air heavy. Like the ship had stopped breathing to listen. "They called it the passenger suicide event," Kaylee continued numbly. "It started on the second night of the cruise. People began reporting strange things, shadows that followed them, Whispering voices, reflections not matching their movement, feelings of drowning on dry land. Then one woman threw herself overboard. Then another, then 10, then hundreds. Entire families. People clawed each other just to get to the railings. Security tried to stop them, then security joined them. The captain sealed the ship, tried to turn back. Nobody listened. Days later, the Coast Guard found a single lifeboat drifting. Inside was a single note. She looked at us, eyes trembling. We're already below the water. It just hasn't reached us yet. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The theater groaned around us as the ship settled in the water. Kaylee stared straight ahead, shaking. Nobody knows why they jumped. Nobody knows what they saw. But this... She looked around at the walls, the seats, the velvet curtains. This is the ship they were on. Tyler began pacing. So you knew this was a ghost murder ship and you didn't think to mention it? I didn't know, Kaylee shot back. It didn't click until I saw those containment cells. This wasn't a cruise, it became a lockdown. They tried to stop whatever was happening, but it was already too late. So what now, Nate said. Because that thing is still out there. I shook my head. Not one thing, more. We barricaded ourselves inside the theater as best we could. I used torn fabric from the curtains to tie a tourniquet tighter around Kaylee's leg. It stopped the bleeding, but her skin was going pale. We need to move, I said. She can't walk, Nate replied. We can carry her. Tyler shook his head. And go where? That thing followed us from the lower decks. I froze. Something was wrong. Something Kaylee said earlier. She had said, it followed us. Not it came after us. Not it chased us. It followed us, as in, it was already with us. I stared at her. Kaylee looked at me, chest rising and falling faster now. What? She breathed. How did you know it followed us? I asked quietly, what do you mean? I stepped closer. You said it before we saw anything. Before we heard anything. You just knew. Her breathing got shakier. Nate frowned. What are you saying? Tyler looked between us nervously. Kaylee, I said, voice breaking as realization sank in like ice. You've seen it, haven't you? She went still. Then she started crying silently. Nate grabbed her shoulders.
Kaylee, what did you see?
She squeezed her eyes shut, trembling. It was the first night, she said, back at the beach house. Before we even came here, I couldn't sleep. I went to the bathroom around 3 a.m., and when I looked in the mirror, she looked up at us with dead fear. My reflection stayed smiling. After I stopped, the room dropped 10 degrees. Nate stepped back. Tyler whispered, She's marked. No, I said immediately. No, that doesn't mean She's infected, Tyler stammered. She's fucking infected with whatever this ship is. Kaylee screamed and grabbed his shirt. Do you think I wanted this? Do you think I asked for this? Something attached to me that night. Something from the water came back with me. Nate stumbled backward. The knocking on the walls. The shadows. The cold spots. They weren't in the house, Kaylee sobbed. They were following me. We should have never come here, Tyler muttered. No, Kaylee whispered. We were always coming here. A sound made us freeze, metal scraping against metal. At first I thought it was outside, but no, it was coming from beneath us, from the stage floor. Nate backed away. Oh my God. Slam. The trapdoor on the stage floor buckled from below. Something hit it again from underneath. Slam, harder. The wood cracked. Kaylee screamed, Run! Run! We sprinted to the stage exit door. Locked. Nate slammed his shoulder into it. Nothing. Behind us, crack. The stage floor splintered open. Out of the darkness below, a hand reached up, then another. But they weren't human hands, they were long. Waterlogged, bone exposed. Skin torn like seaweed, fingernails missing. Fingers broken in unnatural angles. Then a head emerged, bloated, hair floating like it was underwater. An eyeless face opened and water poured out of its mouth. It clawed itself up through the trapdoor. Then another corpse rose, and another, soaking wet, moving without sound except for the water spilling from their jaws. A drenched orchestra of the dead dragging themselves toward us, Tyler screamed. I grabbed a chair and smashed it against the exit door until the hinges gave out. We burst into a backstage hallway and slammed the door behind us, shoving a wardrobe in front of it. Pounding began, instantly, slow, inevitable, like they had all the time in the world. We ran through the backstage hall and burst out another door into a new area of the ship. Everything here was destroyed. Hallways collapsed. Walls bent. Doors ripped off hinges as if torn open by explosions. Emergency lights flickered overhead. We stopped only when Kaylee collapsed again. Blood was soaking through the makeshift bandage. "We need to stop," Nate said. I scanned the hallway. "We can't, not here." "We have no choice," he snapped. "She'll go into shock." Tyler paced. "We're gonna die if we stay put. We have to fucking move." "Shut up," I yelled. "Just give me a second to think." Suddenly, a sound echoed through the hallways, a faint metal bang. Then another in response. Then another. A rhythm, like someone was sending a message by banging on the walls. Nate frowned. "Is that Morse code?" Kaylee's lips parted. "My grandpa taught me this," she said weakly. She listened, then whispered, "Follow." The message repeated, "Follow, follow, follow." I turned toward the sound. Someone else was alive on this ship, or something wanted us to believe that. "Do we follow it?" I asked. Tyler shook his head. "Hell no." Nate looked back at Kaylee, barely conscious now. "We don't have another choice," he said. We moved through hallways that twisted like a maze, the pounding distant behind us now. Every corridor we passed seemed emptier than the one before, like walking deeper into somewhere we weren't meant to see. The banging continued, left, right, down one level, across a collapsed ballroom, past a broken swimming pool. Finally, we reached the source. A sealed metal bulkhead door, rusted, heavy. On it, someone had carved, "Stay awake or die" under it, scratched deeper. Angry, "We are under the water," Tyler swallowed. "This doesn't make sense." Nate tried the door wheel. "It's stuck, help me." Together, we forced it open. The rust screamed but finally gave way. We stepped inside and froze. It was a survival bunker. A hidden one. Supply shelves, a medical cot, lanterns, water, canned food. Someone had lived here, recently, and someone was still inside. A figure was crouched in the corner, alive, a man. He turned slowly like he hadn't seen another human in years, his eyes sunk deep. Skin thin and stretched, beard long and ragged. He stared at us like we weren't real. Then he whispered, "Close the door." Nate slammed it shut and spun the wheel, locking it. The man stood shakily. When he spoke again, his voice sounded broken. "You shouldn't have come here." "Who are you?" I asked. He looked at me with dead eyes. "My name is Captain Jorah Wilkes." Kaylee gasped. Nate froze. Tyler went pale. "You're the captain of this ship," I whispered. He stared at us. "No," he said, "I was." Captain Wilkes stood in front of us, thin as bone and hollow-eyed, like he'd been drained from the inside out. His voice was rough from years of silence or years of screaming. Nate spoke first. "How long have you been hiding here?" The captain didn't answer. Instead, he looked at Kaylee's leg, then moved to a cabinet and tossed me a roll of real medical gauze and antiseptic. "Treat her," he said. I knelt next to Kaylee, wiping the blood from her skin. She winced as I tightened the wrap. Tyler stayed near the door, hands shaking, eyes darting like he expected it to explode. "How did you survive?" Nate asked. The captain didn't look at him. Instead, he stared at the wall like he was watching memories crawl across it. "I sealed myself inside here when the water started rising," he said. Nate frowned. The ship didn't sink. Wilkes looked at him with a tired half-smile. "It didn't have to." He motioned for us to sit. Then he told us everything. It started with the mirrors. People reported that reflections moved a beat too late, smiled when they didn't, blinked out of sync or stepped out of frame and didn't return. Then came the dreams, shared nightmares, hundreds of passengers on different decks reporting the same exact visions, screaming inside dark water. Something pulling them deeper. Then came the hum, a low, alive vibration inside the walls, machinery that wasn't running, pipes that weren't connected, metal that shouldn't breathe, but did. Then came the pull. Passengers would simply get up in the middle of meals or freeze during conversation, or walk away from their families mid-sentence and head for the railings, and jump and jump and jump. Security tried to intervene, but then security joined them. We had no storms, the captain said. No infection, no sabotage, just madness, like something climbed on board. Something we couldn't see, something old, something in the water. Are you saying this ship is haunted? Tyler asked. Wilkes shook his head. Not haunted. Claimed. Nate stepped forward. So what is it? What's controlling the ship? The captain didn't answer. Instead, he turned a crank and opened a square metal hatch in the floor, hidden under a storage grate. When he lifted it, a rush of cold air hit us. Beneath us, a dark metal spiral staircase led down, lower than the bottom deck. Lower than engineering, lower than ballast tanks. That's not on any ship layout, Nate said. Wilkes nodded. I built it. We stared at him. I was ordered to. By who? I asked. He stared at the hole like it hated him. The corporation that owned this vessel. They called it Below Deck Zero, a restricted level. They told me it was experimental stabilization equipment. Said we were never to go down there, not even in emergencies. He finally looked at us. That was a lie. Kaylee shivered and whispered, barely audible. The thing that took the ship, it started down there. The captain nodded slowly. That level has no windows, no emergency exits, no power controls topside, and no records. It was built into the ship before its maiden voyage, welded shut to keep it secret. But once the voices started, once the passengers began jumping, he took a slow, broken breath. Something began whispering from down below, something that knew our names, something that made promises, something that waited. Waited for what? I asked. For someone to open it, he said. Someone did. He looked at me. You want to leave? You want to survive this? Then understand this isn't a ship anymore. It's a grave. A floating grave. And what's buried here doesn't want to stay buried. He stepped toward the open hatch. There's only one way to kill a ship. He pointed into the shadows below. You have to kill its heart. Tyler laughed weakly. Nope, no fucking chance we're going down there. The captain didn't even glance back. You'll go down there, he said. Because if you don't, this ship won't let you leave. And it won't let you die. It will hollow you out and wear you like a suit. Nate clenched his fists. How do we know you're not lying? The captain stepped close until they were eye to eye. Because I've been alive on a dead ship for 3 years. Trust me. I've learned what a lie tastes like. We went down. Kaylee stayed behind, too weak to walk. She grabbed my wrist before we left. Don't listen to it, she whispered. No matter what it says, no matter what it shows you, don't let it in. I squeezed her hand. I'll come back. Her eyes filled with tears. People always say that, she said. Nobody ever does. The metal staircase groaned under our weight as we descended. The air grew colder. My stomach twisted with every step. Below Deck Zero didn't feel like part of a ship. It felt like a tomb. The stairs ended in a long corridor lined with riveted steel. Strange symbols had been carved along the walls, some in paint, some in blood, some etched deep into the metal with something sharp. Nate ran his fingers along them. These aren't symbols, he said. They're marks, tallies from people trapped down here. Counting days. Counting screams. We reached a blast door with a wheel lock sealed shut. A warning was stenciled above it. Do not open. The captain turned the wheel. Metal screamed. The door cracked open and thick. Black air spilled out that smelled like seawater and rot. We stepped inside. The room beyond wasn't a room, it was a chamber. A massive cylindrical space that stretched downwards into darkness. So deep it felt endless. Catwalks circled around its perimeter, crossing over the void. In the center hung a machine, if you could call it that, an enormous structure of twisted metal and pumping tubing like a heart made of steel and bone. It wasn't running, but it was moving, pulsing, breathing below it. Water churned like something enormous was turning just beneath the surface. What the hell is that? Tyler whispered. The captain stared. That is why this ship will never stop. Why nobody can leave. Not while it still beats. What does it do? I asked. He turned to me. It feeds. A loud, metallic groan echoed above us. The catwalk shook, and then I heard it. Water running, but not water from pipes. Water from bodies. Looked back up the stairs. Shapes were crawling down the walls, pale, broken, drowned. Their jaws hung wrong. Their eyes were hollow. They were coming. Every lost passenger, every crew member, every soul that jumped, They were all still here, and they were coming for us. Tyler screamed, "They're blocking the stairs!" Nate grabbed him. "Run, move." The captain pointed to the center of the chamber. "We end it now. At the core." "But how?" I yelled. He shoved a satchel into my hands. C4 charges, my blood went cold. "You brought explosives," I said. "I built them," he replied. "Over years, waiting for someone to help me finish this." We sprinted, water-soaked corpses pouring in along the catwalk behind us. Metal rattled beneath our feet. Tyler planted the first charge along a beam. Nate wired another. The captain set one above the heart. I placed the detonator. The dead moved faster now, screaming without mouths, bending against physics as they crawled like spiders along the steel. "Two more," Nate yelled. Then, I heard something. Something. Inside my own head. "You don't have to die here." I froze. "We can save you." I turned slowly. Standing. In front of me was my mother. She was soaked pale, crying. "Only my mother died 5 years ago. Come with me," she whispered. "We can be together again. Let go." "Come below the water." I stepped forward without meaning to. Something was pulling me toward her. Pulling me down, then a hand yanked me back. "Hey!" Tyler screamed. "Do not listen to it." I blinked hard. The illusion shattered. My mother vanished. Behind her was a corpse, bent, black, swollen, reaching for me with cracked nails. Tyler grabbed a wrench and smashed its face in. "Move." "Now!" he yelled. I placed the last charge. Something grabbed Tyler from behind and pulled him into the darkness. He screamed once, then was gone. We reached the captain again. He was holding the detonator. Nate stared at him. "You're not coming, are you?" The captain shook his head. "My ship. My sin." He pressed the detonator into my hand. "Get to the lifeboats. What about Kaylee?" I asked. His eyes softened. "Hurry." We ran. The dead shrieked behind us, bursting through walls, dripping salt water, hurling themselves down the stairs after us. Something huge shifted in the chamber. The heart beast roared. We climbed until my lungs bled fire. When we reached the bunker, Kaylee was gone. The door was open. Blood smeared on the wall. I heard her scream from down the hall, "Help me!" We sprinted after the sound. A trail of blood led back to the upper decks, past collapsing halls, past the ballroom, past the mirrors that now reflected things behind us that weren't there. We reached the deck. The night sky was black and endless above us. Waves slammed the hull. The whole ship shook. The detonators were armed. We had less than 2 minutes. Nate found Kaylee near the railing. Something had pulled her halfway over. I grabbed her waist and hauled her back just as a pale arm reached from below the ship and tried to drag her. Under she collapsed against me. Crying hard, "It wanted me," she sobbed. "It kept calling me," in my head. She broke down. "We have to go," Nate yelled. We limped to the lifeboats. Only one remained. We loaded Kaylee inside. I untied the launch rope. Nate grabbed the crank and stopped. His face went pale. "What?" I yelled. He pointed. At the far end of the deck, Tyler was standing there, alive, smiling. His eyes were black. "Going somewhere?" he said. Kaylee screamed. Nate moved to block him. Tyler tilted his head. Then, he opened his mouth too wide, and water poured out. He lunged at us. Nate met him, slamming him to the ground. They struggled violently. Tyler's fingers tore into Nate's face. "Nate!" I screamed. "Go!" He roared back. "Get her out." "I'm not leaving you!" "Go!" I pulled the launch lever. The boat dropped. Nate grabbed Tyler and threw him overboard, but Tyler